So with that being said, I'll go ahead, as I said, commence this meeting by starting roll call. We'll start with 5D01.
Hi, this is Commissioner Cholby. I'm here.
5D02. 5D02, Commissioner Rhodes, are you present?
Present. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. 5D03.
I'm here.
5D04 is absent at the moment. 5D05 is myself. I am present. 5D06.
Present.
5D07. I believe is also absent. 5D08. And 5D09. Okay. With that being said, we have quorum for tonight's meeting. 5 of the 9 commissioners are present. Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda right in front of me right now. Correct me if I'm following this incorrectly. But the adoption of the agenda, do we have any amendments to make to tonight's agenda? I know some commissioners wanted to add and remove some items.
Yes, I do have a series of things I need to add. So bear with me, y'all. I'm moving to amend the agenda to add into the treasurer section to add a vote for the FY25 Q4 quarterly financial report. I am moving to add a presentation by Mr. Christopher Rutledge regarding Friendship Place and some community related matters given the shutdown. I know that would likely be scheduled around the 9 p.m. hour, but trying to see if we can get those resources known to the community.
Can we do one at a time, Commissioner?
Yeah, we could do that, or we can, whichever works best.
One at a time, so
I have like 6 of them.
Oof.
So
okay, so just one at a time first.
Okay, all right. So I move to amend the agenda to add under the treasurer section to add a vote for the FY25 Q4 quarterly financial report.
Okay, can Commissioner McCray get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor of the addition to tonight's agenda, say aye.
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 Okay, ayes carry and motion passes. Next item.
All right, so I move to amend the agenda to add a presentation by Mr. Christopher Rutledge regarding Friendship Place around the 9 p.m. hour, just to discuss community-related items, given that we have a lot of folks in our community that are dealing with the shutdown, a lot of unhoused folks, given everything going on this year. So just speaking to what services that Friendship Place can provide that are related to Ward 5, particularly to Ivy City, Trinidad, Starburst Plaza areas.
This is a requested presentation, it's not a voting action item?
Yeah, it's just a requested presentation.
Okay. Commissioner McCray has a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
All right, and I am moving to amend the agenda to add a voting/action item to repost the social media project position.
Okay. This for discussion on this one, just to clarify, this is to reopen the position?
Yes.
Perfect. Can we get a second for this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 So the next action
Is
item.
that an aye, Commissioner Cholby?
Yes.
Roll confirmation. Thank
Yes,
you.
that was an aye.
All right. I
Ayes,
have
motion passes.
2 more to do. Sorry, y'all. And I am moving to amend the agenda to add a vote to approve FY26 funding for ongoing projects that were initially voted on in FY25. This would be to, since we're crossing fiscal lines, we just need to put that the into kind of the meeting minutes. This is more administrative, but this is to approve FY26 funding for ongoing projects that include the administrative assistant position, social media project position, the Trinidad mural project, the historian project payment, as well as extend the funding and the votes from items we voted on in FY25 that were not yet purchased so that we can purchase it this year. So I'm just moving to add that as a voting item.
Okay, Commissioner, can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I didn't say aye. All right. Aye.
Aye. Commissioner
and
Rhodes,
that's it.
Commissioner Roblin, was there, did you guys say aye? Should we,
Said aye.
I said aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Motion passes.
All right. That was my last one for right now.
Perfect. Was there any other amendments or additions to tonight's agenda? Yes,
I'd like
Commissioner
to
Roblin?
make it. Mr. Kim, the director of the Trinidad Farmers Market, is going to speak instead of me later on this evening at 9:50.
Okay, we can make that edit to the agenda if they're already placed. Is that correct? Are they already on the agenda, Andy, in terms of that matter?
The grant proposal is already on the agenda. It
Perfect.
just does not list Mr. Chen as speaking.
Okay.
Mr. Young.
Okay, we'll just edit that for the meeting minutes that they're
Okay.
presenting instead. Thank you.
So I have one.
Any other additions or amendments to tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes?
I would like for Christian Stargill from the mayor's office to have additional time, so I'm yielding my commissioner report. So Christian can have more time to do her presentation, to introduce somebody new from the mayor's office.
You think they need more than 10 minutes?
I don't think so, but I guess that's enough time.
Okay. Does anyone think we need to make an amendment to the agenda based on that? Because we don't have as many commissioners giving reports tonight.
Okay.
You're not hearing any. Okay, it'll be less than 10 minutes. Okay, that's fine. I would like to add one voting action item to tonight's agenda. I move that I move that we affirm a request for a continuance on the BZA matter in 5D03 that has a BZA hearing this month on October 29th. We reached out to the applicants for this project, and there seems to be some discrepancies and concerns that they need to address before their hearing. So I move that we collectively as ANC 5D file a request for continuance in the BZA docket for this matter. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 Uh,
Commissioner Toby?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, motion carries. Andy, did you get all those edits and amendments?
I believe so.
Thank you so much. Okay, with that being said, we'll move forward with tonight's agenda. If you have not pulled up tonight's agenda, it should be available in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. Andy, can you drop it one more time for folks that just popped in like myself? Tonight's meeting is going to be a packed one. Usually runs a fair amount of time depending on the items that we are discussing. Another friendly reminder, next month is our last meeting of the year before we take a recess in December. So if there's any questions, we will reserve them towards the end of every item. If you are one of our seniors, you are permitted to use the raise your hand function so we can unmute you so you can ask the question directly. If not, please, please, please use the Q&A function on this Zoom to drop questions. Comments and feedback, please leave them for the chat, but only questions are reserved for the Q&A function. So please make sure to use those functions properly and respectfully of the time of the commission, but more importantly, your neighbors and residents. Okay, so with that being said, we have the adoption of the minutes from the month of September.
Real quick, I do have an amendment to the minutes. Sorry.
Well, I haven't got to that yet.
Okay, all right.
So with that being said, we do have the adoption of the minutes. This is the minutes for the month of September for our September public meeting that we held last month. Commissioners, I see that we have one request for an amendment on the minutes. Commissioner McCray.
Yes, so I'm requesting to amend the last voting action item we did with the reprogramming of ANC funds. So I am moving that we, just a little bit of backdrop. I just rounded up a little bit more than I should have. So I said, let's reprogram about 9,000 in funds. It needed to be more around $8,500 in funds instead of 9,000 to reprogram so that our personnel budget would align to what we spent. So I am moving to amend the September meeting minutes to reflect that we reprogram $8,500 in the FY25 budget line item from grants to personnel to cover the overage due to us having an admin hired as well as a social media project person hired. This does not change the amount in our bank account. This only would be kind of an administrative item to balance out our budget for FY25.
Okay. Can we get a second on this motion for an amendment on the minutes?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cholby. All in favor of the amendment to the meeting minutes from September, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner G. Campbell, Commissioner Roblin, I don't think I heard y'all.
Aye.
Hey, aye. Commissioner Roblin, was that an aye? Did they drop off? Commissioner Roblin, you're muted if you're trying to speak.
Sorry about that. Yes, I.
Thank you.
Sorry
Thank you.
about that.
Entirely fine. Motion passes, motion carries, motion passes. I apologize for that. Just for the record, can we enter for the minutes that Commissioner G. Campbell entered the public meeting at 7:20? Thank you, Andy. Okay. With amendments made to the meeting minutes from September, I would like to affirm those meeting minutes for the month of September for our public meeting. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCray. All in favor of approving tonight's meeting minutes for the monthly ANC public meeting for September, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, motion carries and passes. Okay, moving along with tonight's agenda, we have our treasurer's report. We have a few items for our treasurer to discuss and affirm. Commissioner McCray, go ahead.
All right. So just a clerical matter. I don't know if folks are looking at the meeting agenda right now, but I am going to start with assigning an ANC 5D our administrative assistant as the treasurer's designee. This will allow us to, this allows us after a vote to actually ensure things get purchased in a fairly timely manner. So I am moving to basically the administrative assistant would be able to make purchases after we approve them in this public setting with our ANC debit card. And I just need this reflected in the minutes so that designation for FY 2026 is in there and it's in an administrative capacity. So I'll start with assigning our ANC. I move to assign our ANC 5D administrative assistant, Andy, as the treasurer's designee for FY 2026 to make purchases after approval or after being prompted within the budget. So the administrative assistant is only able to complete debit card transactions authorized by the commission and under the supervision of the treasurer.
Can you restate your motion one more time?
Yes. So I move to designate assigning our ANC 5D administrative assistant, Andy, as our treasurer's designee for fiscal year 2026.
Perfect. I'll second that motion. Do we need discussion? If not, we'll open the vote.
Second.
Second by Commissioner G. Campbell as well. All in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I heard an aye from Commissioner Roblin as well. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, and now we'll move on to the FY 25, the fiscal year 25 quarterly financial report for Q4. All right, so Q4 for FY 2025 consisted of, and let me share my screen, give me 1 second. And let me know when you all can see my screen.
Yes.
We can see it.
Yes.
All right, so FY 25 Q4 consisted of July, August, and September. And that is the report that I'm about to speak to right now. So our July beginning balance was $49,503.59. Our July ending balance was $57,000 to $57,241.70. We didn't have any expenditures in the month of July. We did receive, however, our quarterly OANC allotment, and we also received our OANC May hybrid meeting reimbursement of funds. So that's why the bank account went up. We didn't spend anything. We just got money that month. For the month of August, our beginning balance was $57,241.70. Our ending balance was $50,948.75. We did have a deposit due to bank fees due to the reimbursement of some stop check fees. We were reimbursed by TD Bank for some stop check fees. Our expenditures during the month of August consisted of Verizon Fios, May administrative assistant work, as well as social media project work. And we did give out funds for Trinidad Day. We did have a stop check fee as well, but that was reimbursed. So that kind of balanced itself out. For the month of September, we had a beginning balance of $50,948.75. We had an ending balance of $49,324.77. The month of September's expenditures consisted of the Verizon Fios payment, Canva Pro subscription, our administrative and social media project ongoing work there. So to sum it up, our ANC 5D FY 2025 Q4 quarterly financial report, we had a beginning balance of $49,503.59. We had an ending balance of $49,324.77. We had our OANC allotment, our OANC technology reimbursement, and then a few kind of clearing up items and reconciling items due to voided checks. I'll pause just to see if there's any questions by commissioners or the public.
No, this all looks good. Were there any questions from the commissioners? Okay.
All right, so I'm going to move that we approve the FY 2025 Q4 quarterly financial report.
Can we get a second on this motion for Commissioner McCray?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor of approving the financial quarterly report for fiscal quarter 4, please say aye.
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 Is that aye, Commissioner Roblin? Commissioner Roblin? I'll state this one again and just do a roll call just so we get this clear. Motion on the floor by Commissioner McCray, second by Commissioner Rhodes. All in favor, please say aye, nay, or abstain. 5D01.
Aye.
5D02.
Aye.
5D03. 5D03. We'll skip them. 5D05 is aye. 5D06.
Aye.
5D09.
Aye.
And 5D03. Are you there, Commissioner Roblin?
Tish can't hear anything. We might have lost her.
Can you unmute yourself, Commissioner?
I cannot hear anything.
The
Can you
motion
hear
was on the
me? I
floor.
cannot hear
The motion was
anything.
on the floor by Commissioner McCray to approve the
Yes,
quarterly
my-
financial report.
My hearing just suddenly went out.
The motion's on the floor to approve the quarterly financial report. It's been seconded by Commissioner Rhodes. Is it aye, nay, or abstain? Okay, well, we need to move on. So we want to include Commissioner Roblin's report in the vote due to technical difficulties. Motion carries. Anything else for our financial reports or treasurer's report, Commissioner McCray?
Nothing right now because I think the budget is later in the time frame, so we're good for right now.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, moving along with our public agenda, we have our committee reports. Were there any reports from any of the commissioners that would like to share on any of the committees that they're standing on? If not, we'll go straight to commissioners' reports. Nope. I would just say a friendly reminder that our zoning committee meeting is this Thursday. Excuse me, this Thursday the 16th. If you haven't got connected or plugged into our zoning committee meeting, feel free to shoot me an email directly at 5do5@anc.dc.gov, and myself and Skip Keats will be able to connect you. Commissioner Rhodes?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that so others saving our next generation, the cleaning crew that was doing the residential side of Ivy City is back. So as of uh, I think they I think that's their second week maybe. But they're back. They have the contract back. And so if anyone is in Ivy City is on the line, just so you know, we have our cleaning crew back so others may. Hmm. Saving our next generation is SONG.
Thank you. Okay, with that being said, we'll move to commissioners' reports. This is the reports for ANC commissioners. I know Commissioner Rhodes has saved their time for the mayor's office, but we also have some other commissioners here that are available to share. We would like to take this time also to welcome our new ANC commissioner for Union Market, Commissioner Cholby. They can go ahead and introduce themselves, and we'll allow other commissioners to give their reports.
Commissioner, we forgot the committee meeting.
Commissioner, we already passed that. I guess because of your audio wasn't working, but feel free to bring it into your committee, your commissioner's report. Commissioner Cholby for 5D01 Union Market.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Isabel, Commissioner Cholby. I've recently just been able to fill the vacancy for the 5D01 commissioner position, and I was sworn in last week. I've had the pleasure of meeting with some of my colleagues already. But for those of you who I haven't met and all the public on here, it's nice to meet you. Being as I've just joined the commission, I don't have anything to report as of yet, but anyone who wants to contact me, you can use 5D01 at anc.dc.gov, particularly for things affecting Union Market, but for all of 5D as well. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, Commissioner. 5D02 is reserving their time. 5D03.
I think it might be easier for me to wait till I get home. I'll be home in like 20 minutes. But I can always just put it in the chat.
Okay, we'll allow you to put information in the chat. 5D04 is absent tonight. I am 5D05. Things have been fairly fair in Northern Trinidad. We did have some hiccups with our violence interrupters that were situated thanks to the OAG's office. For those that are not familiar, a lot of contracts for the violence interrupters were transferred into the ONE's office, Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. They originally with the Office of the Attorney General, and we did have a shutdown of the office off of Mount Olivet for a week, but they're up and running now, moving accordingly. Some of the sites around the city did get shut down, but luckily ours in Trinidad is still up and running. The project manager there, Miss Alicia, she's still running the office. They're always available for walk-ins for anyone that might have any questions with Cure the Streets, but feel free to check in with them. Other than that, we've had a very slow process in getting our mural completed, but we had a great time what was that? It wasn't last week, 2 weeks ago, giving out food to those on the block and just enjoying a good time as many folks in the neighborhood have shared their love and appreciation for the new mural on Flatlines Boxing Gym. Friendly note also, Commissioner Rose has noted that Saving Our Next Generation song are handling residential cleanup for certain parts of the neighborhoods. They are the cleaning crews that you see down Montello Avenue and Trinidad Avenue and parts of Mount Olivet Road as well. So they're managing parts of that. So always feel free to say hi to them. They're really great men and women that are doing that work. So always show them some love. Especially if you live directly on those strips, because not every single block in the neighborhood gets that kind of service. Outside of that, I do have a proposal tonight for our annual Pumpkin Fest at the Trinidad Rec Center. Any commissioners are welcome to assist on that event. It's a $250 proposal just for pumpkins and pumpkin carving tools that the director of the ONC has stated is a permissible expense. We typically work with the rec center to get folks to get families, particularly one pumpkin for family, to carve and to just have a good time with their young ones and just share a little moment for Halloween before they go out and start, basking in free candy from their neighbors. Other than that, please be mindful that street sweeping will be coming to an end shortly. We get these services cut during the end of fall, winter break, winter seasons, I'm sorry, and they come back in the spring. So we've been doing a series of cleanups on the streets lately because the fall weather is some of the best weather to do cleanups. Um, and if you are in need of a cleanup, particularly on your block or in your alley, please let me know. If not, please contact 311 to directly get that service done. Inspector Brooks Garrett with Department of Public Works has been working diligently to make sure that our alleys are clean, that everything's neat. I think we've been making great strides with public litter and trash cleanup in the neighborhood, but there's always room for more. So with that being said, I'd like to pass it on to 5D06.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It is Char McCray, 5D06, Trinidad Carver Langston. So I guess a few kind of hot topic items. On Sunday, there was some type of pumping of sewage on to kind of the 1400 block of Orange Street Northeast. DC Water did come out to address that directly the same day. The Department of Energy and the Environment is now conducting an investigation into that. So there will be more to come on kind of next steps. Major goal there was to mitigate any type of hazard to the community there. Um, Another larger kind of item on 17th Street in between on Lang Place and kind of closer to Lyman as well. Those the crosswalk signs do not light up as folks cross the street, which I know is causing a lot of folks issues with crossing that street. So trying to work with DDOT to get that addressed so that the lights will all work in unison. So when folks try to cross the street, it is a bit easier and that the lights actually work so people will stop. So more to come on that, there's more to come on that. No updates yet, but more to come. There will be a cleanup that'll be hosted by me in conjunction with the Trash and Beautification Committee on the 25th of October. All tools will be available at the former CVS parking lot at 845 Bladensburg Road Northeast. And looking forward to kind of cleaning up with folks. And then just stay tuned for more. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind. Also, let me know if there's an area that you need cleaned up. But I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Commissioner McCray. Commissioner G. Campbell.
Oh, no. Well, hello, Commissioner G. Campbell. Quiet. Um, the only thing that I have reporting that y'all could come out this following Saturday for Community Day around Langston. I had my first little community meeting with my constituents, which it was pretty good. I'm going to have another one, but I'll announce that next month. But again, the only thing I have coming up is our Community Day around Langston, and you're invited to come.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, it is 7:42, y'all, and we were gonna go ahead and move forward with tonight's agenda. We did our commissioners' reports, and now we have our standing presentations. So, Andy, if they're not elevated already, can you elevate the folks for the 5th District Metropolitan Police Department so they can speak?
I am trying.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, there was a question in the Q&A.
Okay, thank you.
Uh,
Gabriela Sasson, if we're interested in more trash cans in our neighborhoods, how can we make that request? Now, here's an educated piece. Is it trash cans or litter cans? Yes, they are different. Trash cans are usually the trash waste receptacles that the Department of Public Works provides for residents that do not live in a building with 4 units or more. Because if you have 3, I believe you can still get them. But once you pass that 3, you can't get those trash cans. Litter cans are the public waste receptacles that you find at bus stops or other commercial areas in the district. This is a request that every single commission gets around the city. For some reason, the city is not providing more litter cans outside of areas that are considered commercial areas. If you are in a zone that is closely tied to a commercial area, sometimes you do see them there as well. But the city does not give out any more litter cans unless there's a bus stop that needs one, that doesn't have one, or again, a location that's in a commercial area that can make use of a litter can. It's something that we all wish, everyone on this commission wishes we can get changed. I know I've been advocating for it since I've been a freshman ANC, even before that, and it's not happening. But if you know a spot that previously had a litter can, that most likely means that's still zoned to be a permissible location. So please contact your single member district ANC. If you don't know who that is, you can go to openanc.org to find out who your commissioner is and let them know, like, hey, there's a bus stop here that doesn't have a litter can. Can we please get one? Or we used to have a litter can here exactly in this spot 4 years ago. What can we do to bring one back? So if it's zoned for potential purpose, then yes, we can get those done. If you are looking for pet waste receptacles, we do have that potential purchase available, but they will only be available to organizations or buildings with tenant associations or homeowner associations that can properly manage them. We can purchase them. We can provide you with the waste bag, but we only ask that you manage the actual removal of the waste itself. So feel free to again contact your SMD ANC commissioner, and we'll be able to see if that is something that you can put on your block, depending on who can sponsor it, and we can lease it to. There's no cost at all. We just want to make sure that it's being managed properly. Did we get them on, Andy?
I tried to promote them to panelists a couple times. And
if not, we'll have to come back
oh,
to
it looks
them.
like they are. They're here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There we go.
Put it this way. Block one.
Okay, officers, how y'all doing? You're muted if you're speaking.
Thank you. Bro, look up for me, please. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you just lower the radio a little bit. Perfect. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Can you just introduce yourselves, what PSA police service area you're a part of, and we'll like to get to the nitty gritty of what's been going on in the south side of the ward.
I'm Officer Pantaleon. I'm assigned to the 5th District. PSA 506. I've been working at 506 for about, what, 4 years now? I've been with the department for 11 years. I'll give the phone to my partner.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Officer Barnett. I'm in well, I used to be in 506. I'm in 507 now. Just left 506. I've been with the department for approximately 7 years. Prior to that, I was in 506 for probably like 3 years.
Okay, perfect. And for folks watching, police service area PSA 506, that is Ivy City and Trinidad, and police service area PSA 507, that is to the, what is that, to the east? right? To the east, that's Central Trinidad, Carver Langston. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Feel free to read us the stats of what's been going on in the last 30 days, but we really like to open it up more to questions from the commissioners and the public. We can get the stats online, but we like to dive deep into some matters that's been going on in our neighborhoods.
Well, I personally don't have any stats in front of me, but if they have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, then we're definitely going to reference the internet for those stats then. Are there
Yeah.
any direct questions from commissioners at this time for the officers? I'll open it up to them before I speak.
Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Gray.
There was an incident that occurred at the 1400 block of Orange Street. Neighbors let me know there could have been someone there that might have had a lot of ammunition and guns on them. Can you provide any insights on kind of what occurred there and anything you can provide to the neighborhood about that? It happened about, I want to say about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Do you know what date? You got a date?
Not quite sure of the day. Hold tight.
Okay, yeah, because yeah, because if it
About a week ago,
chances
like
are,
2 weeks ago at this point.
yeah, because chances are if it doesn't happen, like a lot of times, like during our tour, you got to know like a time frame. If it happened during our tour, was it day work or like midnights
Or evenings.
or evenings? And a lot of times we're on days off, so it might have happened. We got the same days off, so it might have happened on our days off. So I know it definitely didn't happen while we were working because we would have heard about it.
And we have a federal task force working with 5D as well, so I don't know if they were involved in that.
All right. And I guess that leads to my second question. I know residents have noted a lot of, and myself included, a lot of uptick in the federal presence. I guess how long is that? I know it's around. Do we have an ETA or status on when the federal presence will leave? Or do you all know? And I know you all, I can't say y'all work hand in hand with them, but you kind of do. So like what when is that gonna kind of subside?
I don't know. I would direct that question to our lieutenant or captain, but we don't have that information for you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's all I have for right now.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes, there was a young teenager that was murdered at the Rhode Island Avenue station. Do you all have any information on that? Or that's not in your area?
That is part of 5D, but it's not in our PSA. But do you know how? Like, because I don't.
He was shot. He was
Oh,
shot
you
to
talking
death.
about yeah. Yeah, no, that actually happened on the day that we were off. We wasn't working. That happened. That's PSA 502. Yeah, and that happened while we were off. That wasn't the day that we were.
Hold on a second.
No, I think that's 502.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what is going on in that area? Because there's a lot of kids hanging out and a lot of shootings. What's going on in that area? Or does not, you can't answer?
Yeah, I can't answer on that because it's not a PSA that I actually active patrol on a daily basis. We were assigned to the PSA 506.
But we usually have a presence in that area, though, especially when we know, like during let out, if we know school's about to be let out, we usually have a presence in the area. That's around like, oh, you talking about Washington Place or
Yes,
no?
yes.
Okay, yes, we usually have a presence in the area.
And what about Union Market? The where the KIPP schools are, Mount Olivet Road, Blainsburg Road.
I know for Union Market, there's actually two mountain bike officers that are assigned to that area. They usually come in. I think they come in around 12, and they usually around there patrolling and answering any type of call for service.
Thanks.
Okay. Were there any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from the public? Officers, I'm still having issues with y'all's officers posting up at the corner of Rom Street and Montello. Y'all continuously post up there while you have your backs turned to the illegal activities happening in the alley, crossing through Sims, Rom, and Mig's place. We had a young boy killed there this summer, and we have still lacked proper police attention to that alley. We have consistent illegal dumping. We have numerous amounts of drug activity occurring through there, sales particularly. And like I mentioned, we had a boy killed there this summer. Why do y'all still post up on that corner of Rom and Montello, having your backs turned to all this going on right there? This is in 506.
It's that area is a hot spot. So, what
Right,
alley
why
are
do
you
you
referring
back
to?
into all the hotspot activity?
I can't speak for the other officers, but uh, can you be specific? What alley? What alley are you talking
The
about?
alley that crosses through Sims Place, Rom
Uh,
Street, and Mig's Place.
Sam's Bush.
There's a whole
Okay.
alley that crosses behind Montello, and y'all consistently park at the corner of Rom and Montello. And while
Uh-huh.
you have your backs facing that alley, we have consistent amounts of activity happening right behind your back, 20 feet away from you. It makes y'all
Well,
look severely incompetent.
thank you for bringing it to our attention. I'll definitely pass along that information to the watch commander, but we'll definitely do better in the future.
But I bring it up every single meeting, and I keep on hearing the same. I've had Lieutenant Altero here. I've addressed it to Commander Simic. I've addressed it to Captain Simic. I've addressed it to Commander Rooney. And somehow the message is not being passed along to the officers, because the officers continue to post up on that block and have their backs turned to the activity. So if you all amongst officers talk, maybe that could be a way to get this message across. But
Okay.
I'm having way too many problems, and it's just the same thing over and over again. Do you know who the watch commander is tonight?
Lieutenant Otero, sir.
Okay, perfect. You're the
Yeah.
second officer in the last 9 months that has been able to answer that question without hesitation. So kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Everyone else never knows who the watch commander is.
Oh, well.
So I appreciate you giving me an answer. Were there
Yeah,
any
no problem.
other questions for these officers before you let them go? I see Ms. Diggs has her hand raised. Andy, can you let Ms. Diggs speak? She's one of our seniors.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. How are you? How is everyone? So, officers, I'd like to know. I'm at 21st and Maryland Avenue Northeast. So we have a bit of a problem as well. All summer long, of course, people were, as Commissioner Sal said, or Guzman said, posted up right here in front of my apartment. With grills and chairs and partying all night long, 5 o'clock in the morning. 3 weeks ago, the police actually came, and it was so loud that I woke up, and I looked outside and I said, "Okay, well the police are there, so this is gonna stop now. This is like 3 a.m." It did not. They left and it did not stop. I'm not sure. I couldn't see, of course, so I wasn't sure if they got out of the car or not. But what I'm asking for is more police presence in our area. So what happens is the drug dealers, actually, I'm going to call them what they are because that's what they are, have moved from the Carver Terrace apartments, which is on Maryland Avenue and abuts 21st Street here where I am, because the management of Carver Terrace has been lax in their landscaping. And so now they're getting like a lot of rats. And so the drug dealers have come down to my street, right directly across from my apartment. I'm at 1113 21st Street Northeast. And I just would request if we can get, and I know that things are, topsy-turvy. I can't think of another better term to use in terms of who's responsible for what and whether, these federal agents, what does that mean? I'm not really sure. But I still need for you to put a few folks over here so that they can be seen that you are here, and people that are, I think there's a term, it's called on paper. Folks that are on paper don't actually want to interact with you. So that means they'll leave. So if you could help us in that respect, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Can you repeat your address one more time, man?
1113 21st Street Northeast, between
Okay.
21st and M.
Okay,
All right.
between first and now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. So with that being said, we'll move on with tonight's agenda. If you have any other questions, please follow up with your ANC commissioner so they can get in contact with the Metropolitan Police Department, or feel free to drop them in the Q&A and we'll get back to them accordingly with these officers. Gentlemen, I appreciate the time y'all given us tonight. Hopefully you can follow up with some of these direct concerns that we have and let Lieutenant Altiero know that we're trying to do better out here in this side of the 5th District.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. We'll relay the
Y'all be
information
safe.
you guys can finish.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. With that, we have our Executive Office of the Mayor. We have Christian Stargill here.
Yes, good evening. How are you all doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me on as well. Like you said, my name is Christian Sargel, and I serve as the Ward 5 Moker. And I also have our new business liaison, Mariah, here with us as well. So our office just got new business liaisons as well as faith liaisons who will be working specifically with our faith institutions as well as our businesses. So Mariah is here on the call. So you can.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariah Coilton. I am the business liaison for wards 5 through 8. My job is basically to support local businesses and make sure they have everything they need to thrive in the community. When I say everything they need, I am referring to grants, permits, infrastructure, APCA, and so on. I will go ahead and drop my information down below in the chat. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Yes, and thank you so much, Mariah, for taking the time to introduce yourself to all of the ANCs. We're definitely excited to have them on the team. And Ryan, Reverend Ryan, she is actually out tonight, but I'll make sure that you all will receive her contact information as well. So I'll start off since Mariah just talked about the businesses. So with her just starting last week, we jump started right in 5D. So we canvassed along West Virginia Avenue, those businesses right there by the gas station, up to the liquor store, as well as Union Market. So like she said, we just connected with businesses. We provided our contact information, just discussed some concerns that they've been dealing with, and just let them know that we are here to assist as well. So I just have a couple updates tonight. Number one, roll off day. We've passed out over 100 flyers on feet, so doing that engagement. So we're really excited for a great turnout. That will be October 25th, 2025 at Trinidad Recreation Center. We're encouraging residents to come by and dispose of bulk items like furniture, clothing, and things of that nature. And any questions or concerns can be forwarded to me or to cleancity.dc.gov. It is leaf season, so leaf season is definitely upon us. It's scheduled to start on November 3rd, 2025, with an end date of February 7th. 2026 approximately. So the collections, of course, are only for households who receive trash pickup. So there will be no collection for businesses, apartments, or condos. So the areas will be split into sections. From A to D, you will receive a notice within 2 weeks of your section to rake your leaves to the curb. DPW is asking that residents please ensure that your leaves are raked and placed in the tree box ahead of your scheduled pickup time. It says DPW will not go on private property to rake leaves. And if one house on the street didn't have their leaves raked on the day of service, they will have to wait until the entire section is fully complete. As it is the homeowner's responsibility to have the leaves there at the time of pickup. So the website for all things leaf related, it's unfortunately not a live link yet, but I did want to provide it because that's where you'll go to put in your address, figure out what section you're in, and when to have your leaves there. So that's dpw.gov www.dc.gov/leaf. And like I said, the link isn't live yet, but we definitely wanted to make sure you had that, and we'll definitely reach out to each ANC and let them know when the link will be available. There's also some changes in Medicaid, so we're just reminding all residents to just keep an eye out for that. If you do believe that there may have been changes to your Medicaid or Medicare, but you weren't contacted about that, you can contact the Public Benefit Call Center at 202-727-5355 or visit www.district.direct.dc.gov. And we are also reminding residents that our support for federal workers link is still live, and that's fedsupport.dc.gov. So that's all the updates I have. I can take ANC specific concerns or questions now, and like I said, I'll drop all three of our contact informations in the chat and all of the links.
Great. Thank you so much, Christian. Was the role that Ms. Mariah had, is that a new position in the mayor's office, or is it a role that was recently filled?
It's not a new position. We had business liaisons previously. It was actually separate from our office. So I guess with them being inside and under the realm of Mokers, that is new, but we have had business liaisons before. But excited for Mariah. Like I said, she's jumped right in and hit the ground running. So looking to do some great things for Ward 5.
Great. I would love to set up a time with y'all to see how we can connect y'all to the community center, the boxing gym off of Mount Olivet. That'll be perfect.
Yes, definitely. Also, our office, well, the mayor's office is hiring, and I can drop that link as well. So
always here to share open jobs for some of our residents. Perfect. Were there any questions from other commissioners or anything specific for Ms. Sarjo? I don't see anything in the Q&A. Ra, just making sure the Q&A is for questions, not for comment or feedback. Please reserve that for the chat, please. Don't bog down the Q&A. Skip Keats, what kind of jobs, Christian?
what kind of jobs are available? So there are 2 listings right now for another business liaison, as well as a moker. So they're looking for another moker. So those are the 2 applications open at this time. Also, you can also visit for jobs outside of the mayor's office. You can visit careers.dc.gov, and there's several jobs listed there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Seeing I don't see no questions, y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for joining us.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, moving along with tonight's agenda, we also have our folks from the Councilmember's office for Ward 5, Councilmember Zachary Parker's office. Is Andriana or Oliver available tonight?
I am available. How are you?
Perfect. Nice to see you, Miss Andriana.
Nice to see you as well. I'll get started because it's pretty lengthy. Thank you everybody for coming out to Ward 5 Day on September 20th. It was our biggest and best one yet. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you stop by, walk through Ward 5 to see the Trinidad and Carver Langston boards. Right now, we understand that it's a hard time with the federal government shutdown, so I'll drop some links in the chat for some resources. Furloughed workers impacted by the shutdown can file for unemployment insurance benefits through the Department of Employment Services, and I'll drop that in the chat. Last week, Councilmember Parker released a 16-bill policy package designed to foster youth well-being in the district. It's something our office and the Committee of Youth Affairs have been working on for a long time. The Care for Youth Plan was developed alongside impacted youth and their families, advocates, lawyers, judges, and experts. We stopped by DYRS, schools, Brooklyn Middle, Luke Seymour to come up with this policy plan. You can learn more on our website, and I'll drop that link in the chat as well. This Thursday, October 16th, the Committee on Youth Affairs, the committee that the council member chairs, will hold a public roundtable on the overcrowding at the Youth Services Center. So that's DC Juvenile Detention Center up on the hill. The deadline to sign up to testify is tomorrow at 10 a.m. But you also can submit a written testimony until the record closes, which is on October 30th. And I'll drop that link in the chat. Our next Ward 5 public safety call will be on October 29th at 3 p.m. via Zoom. These are reoccurring calls, and this is a chance for neighbors to get updates on recent incidents, ask questions, and hear from DC Public Safety Agency leaders. As a reminder, we host these calls during the day to accommodate the schedules of the agencies we coordinate with. The call is always recorded and it remains on the council member's YouTube channel if you cannot join us live. And we will always share the recording and the slides in our Ward 5 newsletter. I'll drop a link also to sign up so you can attend the call. The Bladensburg Bus Garage Fall Community Meeting will happen on October 21st. It'll be virtual and it'll be at 6 p.m. Ward 5 Roll-Off Day in Trinidad is October 25th. It'll be at 10 a.m. at Trinidad Recreation Center. You can drop off bulk trash, household waste collection, etc. And that is the last thing I have to say. If you have any questions, I can answer them. And I'll drop these links in the chat.
Were there any questions for Andriana? I did have one. I don't know if you're able to answer it, but there was some clarity that I needed. The councilmember dropped all the information in terms of how they see to handle some of the youth crisis that were living last week, but they voted in support of extending the curfew on youth last week as well, was it not? If I'm not mistaken. So it was a little conflicted. I was a bit confused whether they're in support of helping youth in the city, but also in support of continuing establishing zones that arrest our youth. Do you have any maybe some clarity you can give me there in terms of what that is?
No, I know they voted on the curfew. Is that what you're talking about? Extending the curfew in certain areas? I'm not clear on why they want to extend it or not. I can get you an answer with that tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, because to me, it seemed kind of contradicting that they want to continue establishing zones that are arresting our children, but yet the next day or so came out with information or a stance on supporting the youth. So it just seemed like, even though that didn't pass, that legislation didn't pass, it just seemed kind of it confused me and some folks. So if you can just provide some clarity there in the future, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that could be contradictory.
Perfect. Were there any questions from commissioners? If there's any questions, please drop them in the Q&A function of the chat. I do see a hand raised from Ms. Diggs.
Hi, good evening again. So I just want to say, can you drop off electronics at the roll-off, Andriana?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, just wanted to also say Ward 5, a true success. I served and you all did a great job. I have to give a complete shout out to our donors. They were just wonderful. There was enough food all day long for everyone that came. It just was a wonderful time for all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for serving.
No problem.
Yes, I heard Ward 5 Day was a success. A lot of good food. Okay, are there any other questions for the council member's office? Just to reiterate, what time was the roll-off event?
Roll-off event is at 10 a.m. on October 25th at Trinidad Recreation Center.
Perfect. 25th is just confirming where we at? Saturday. So next Saturday.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Andriana. We appreciate you.
You're so welcome.
Okay, we've made it to 8 o'clock. 8:12 to be exact. So we're doing great on time. And now we have the meat and potatoes of tonight's meeting, which are action items. First, we have some requested presentations, and then we have voting action items, including our consent calendar and a fair amount of proposals for tonight. We'll start with the requested presentations. Do we have someone here from the Office of Planning available to present?
I just see Nick. I'm about to promote you, Nick. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So thanks for inviting us today. I think my colleague Ryan Hand will be joining as well. He'll put a note in the chat when he's on, but I can go ahead and share my screen to start a brief presentation that we can walk through. So hold on one second. Hold on, that's not working. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Should be good. Okay, great. So thanks again for having me here tonight. My name is Nick Kushner. I'm a senior community planner with the DC Office of Planning. I am also the project manager for DC 2050, which is the district's next comprehensive plan. So that's what I'm here to talk a little bit about tonight. I'm going to recap what we've done thus far and then kind of tell you what we have coming up ahead, which is coming up very soon. We have some workshops in November that I'll talk about at the end of the brief presentation. So I'll jump right into it. So what does the DC Office of Planning do? We do a lot of things at the Office of Planning. As I mentioned, I work in citywide. We also have a neighborhood planning division. We have development review, so we review zoning commission cases and provide comments. We coordinate amongst different agencies to get their comments on different projects that come before the zoning commission. We also manage the state data center. So we do forecasting for the district. We put out a bunch of demographic reports on data trends throughout DC, and we generally coordinate across different agencies and help inform the mayor's budget and priorities for the district through processes like the comprehensive plan. So what is a comprehensive plan? The comp plan sets the long-range vision for the district. So it is really the blueprint that we follow and that shapes growth and development, not just through OP, but through other agencies' priorities as well, as it is tied to the capital improvement plan for the district. So all agencies, when they're submitting budget requests through the mayor, reference the comprehensive plan and through their proposals that they put forward should be promoting the goals that are set forth in the plan. It also informs zoning. So zoning cannot be inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. So comprehensive plan policy comes first, and then zoning must be in alignment with that policy. Why are we doing a new plan now? We know that we, as a district, have changed a lot since the last comprehensive plan was done. That was in 2006 that we last undertook a process like what we're doing now, which is a rewrite of the comprehensive plan. Some of you may be familiar with the 2021 amendment, which was an amendment to an existing comprehensive plan, which was the 2006 plan. That was starting from the 2006 document. Now we are starting with a fresh framework that is going to be responsive to the times that we're in today. We are also still anticipating that the district will continue to grow. Our last projected forecast has us growing by almost 150,000 residents and 175,000 jobs. I know we're hitting a few maybe bumps in the road temporarily now with some of the job cuts at the federal sector, but we anticipate that we will be able to rebound from this and over the longevity of the next 25 years, still anticipate the district being a very desirable place to live. And we want to make sure that we are crafting a land use environment that both allows residents who are here today to be able to stay and thrive where they are and to be able to find affordable living locations and retail options and community amenities, as well as welcome new residents who want to move and start calling the district home. Right now in the process, we are entering phase 2 of the comprehensive plan process. So we started back in March. We launched with a kickoff with the mayor at the Strand restaurant in Ward 7, formerly Strand Theater. And we engaged with residents across a series of workshops and in an open house format, and also in kind of more interactive game breakout discussions around priorities for how they wanted to see the district grow across major planning topics such as housing, transportation, resilience, and the environment. Now we are entering the second phase, which is really going to be focused on how we grow as a city and how our land use changes. We're going to be talking a lot about a tool that the comprehensive plan includes called the Future Land Use Map. That is going to be a big part of our workshops that'll be held in November. We're going to talk about different approaches to how we can grow to accommodate the growth and the change in the district, and how we can, what that growth means to different neighborhoods, and how we collectively want to shape our land use moving forward. And then that will run through the spring of next year. We will then get into drafting mode and come out with a draft plan anticipating the fall of 2026. That'll be, we'll do a lot of engagement around that draft plan. We will have a very long public comment period where people can submit comments, but also we'll be out in community, reaching residents where they are. And then those comments will be integrated in the plan. It'll get submitted to the DC Council. They will then have it as legislation to hold hearings on. They will vote on it, and then it follows the legislative process of all legislation in the district, where it goes before NCPC for 60 days, where they weigh in on the federal interest, and then to the US Congress for 30 days. And if they do not act, then it is approved by time there. And then we anticipate that whole process getting done around the start of 2028. To date, as I mentioned, the phase 1 engagement that we had a survey that we released, which we had over 2,000 people respond to. Close to 750 people attended the various events that I discussed. We've been at pop-ups around the district, going out to different communities, partnering with community-based organizations at their events. Anacostia River Festival, we were just at H Street Fest the other weekend. And so trying to attend all parts of the city, all wards, to talk to residents at events that they'll already be out at, so that we can bring them into the process and have them learn a little bit more about OP and about the comp plan and what we're doing, how to shape the future of the city that we all love. And some of what we've heard so far is people really love the diversity of the people that make up the district, the culture that's here, the walkability of our neighborhoods, and that it is something that they really want us to hold on to and value as we move forward. We've also heard that a lot of people can reach their destinations within 30 minutes by their preferred commute times, but that the east-west connections across the district create a challenge and limit where people choose to live. Residents also predominantly, we heard time and again when we were engaging around the types of amenities that were most important to have nearby for people that we engaged, were parks, recreation centers, grocery stores. A lot of people see themselves remaining in the district as long as they can afford to, and the resources and the amenities are there to support what they need. And a lot of the residents that we talked to also emphasized wanting different types of housing near transit that accommodated different households, different incomes, different family makeups, and that there was a lot of interest in seeing that diversity of housing and also having a good accessibility to both bus and rail transit. So couple ways that you can get involved in DC 2050 today. As I mentioned, we're getting ready to kick off our phase 2 fall workshops. We have a newsletter, which you can sign up for on our website, dc2050.com. We also just released our phase 1 engagement summary report, which is on our website. And we have a new video out that was also released recently, which introduces our new approach to place-based or land use planning, which is a place types, which kind of encapsulates the experience and the feel of a place and the character of that space. So it integrates both future land use with kind of a more policy guidance direction. And you can attend one of these workshops, which will both be at our headquarters at the Office of Planning, which has a downstairs, a first level meeting room that's kind of like MLK Library, where a lot of big rooms, and we're going to have kind of an open house style that'll have some breakout discussions so you can dive deeper on some of the topics. But we're going to be talking a lot about approaches to growth and approaches to change in potentially how we adjust that future land use map to accommodate the growth that we anticipate in the districts. So with that, I'm happy to take questions. There's more information, as I mentioned, on our website. You can also email us at dc2050@dc.gov. And I see Commissioner Rhodes has her hand up, and I'm not sure, Commissioner Rhodes, if Ryan has joined yet.
Yep. Hey, Nick, I'm here with
Okay,
you.
he's there. Okay, great.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ryan Hand. I'm the Associate Director for Citywide Planning at the DC Office of Planning. And, Nick, thanks for the presentation today. I'm happy to help you answer any questions that come up.
Great.
Yes, thanks for the presentation, Nick, and thanks for being here, Ryan and Nick, for the DC 2050. The issue that I'm having is with all the workshops that you're doing and the furloughs, folks can't afford to live here. If you are having workshops now, a lot of the people that are in these workshops are not going to be here by 2028. Some people will, some people won't. And I'm being transparent from what we've dealt with planning the New York Avenue Vision Framework and the small area plan. The last comment that you made, Nick, changes, you said the changes, and it was another word you put in there. Yeah, we're
Maybe
gonna have
land use, yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have to deal with a lot of changes. Zoning is not our friend. And you're saying that the comp plan has to be in line with zoning. Well, the zoning policies and rules are not in line with our communities. So therefore, with the 2050, if we go by the zoning laws that are present, we're not going to have communities that are in line with the residents. And if we're going to have all these open houses with residents and with ANC commissioners who are supposed to have great weight, then those supposed should be geared towards the people and not developers, development, or things that are made to seem like is for us, but it's not for us. So I'm just adding that. I could add more. I will, and when I have the floor at some point. But I just want to make sure that people know that when you go to these open houses for the comp plan, please be involved in the planning of your community. And I'm going to make sure I stress that because right now we're fighting an issue that we shouldn't be fighting if we was in part of the planning in the beginning and understanding what we're getting involved in. And it just don't seem like it seemed like it's all great. It looks great and things are being made to fit the community, but sometimes they're not, and we know that they're not. So we just want to make sure that we're being transparent with everybody that's being involved with the 2050. I did the survey. The survey was very vague. It wasn't it was geared to us, but not in a meaningful way. Not in a meaningful way. And specifically for folks that are from the district. It was very vague, and I didn't care for the survey at all. And I'm sure a lot of people filled it out just thinking that, yeah, I'm part of the planning, but not realizing you might be part of the planning, but how much of what we're bringing, because you're going to knock it down. How many pages? Like 1,000 pages. It was
It's
already
very long now. Yes. Yeah.
okay. It is very long, and then you're going to knock off half of it. So what is leaving? What is going to be leaving off the comp plan? What is going to be added that we're not going to be told about? So those just I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Commissioner, it's really important to be involved in this process. I want to thank you for your commitment. One thing I want to make sure that we are clear about is that zoning has to be consistent with a comprehensive plan. That's why it's really important to be involved in this process because that's what determines what zoning can be in the future and what buildings can be built in the future. And part of what we're starting with is that our initial survey was pretty open-ended. As we go through the process, we'll become increasingly specific. And that's why we're laying out the phases. Each phase will become more and more specific. And so it's really important to stay with us through this process.
Yeah, and thank you so much for encouraging the importance of being involved in this process because it really is. This is the ground floor, so to speak, where everything follows from the comp plan. The comp plan sets the policy, it sets what zoning has to be consistent with. So I think it's great to kind of emphasize that importance in getting involved at this level. And yes, we are trying to make the plan more concise and more user friendly and have it be a plan that's more usable to all district residents. Because right now that 1,200 page document isn't very navigable by the regular DC resident. And so we want to make a plan that more people can pick up, understand what that means for their community and for the future of the district as a whole.
And I'll add, we're creating a new kind of comprehensive plan. That's how we're making it shorter. And part of the way we're making it shorter is we're holding ourselves to account to write a clear, comprehensive plan that someone can pick up and understand what does this mean for me, rather than having to wade through 1,000 pages of policies that may or may not apply to you. So that's the challenge we're setting for ourselves, and that's what we want to talk with you about as we go through this process: is are we achieving the goal of being as clear as we're trying to be?
Will you all be able to come back and periodically on this comp plan issue because this is very important, especially in Ward 5 and specifically 5D and 5C, and I believe 5B, 5D and 5C specifically. But would you be willing to come back periodically and talk about the way the process is going and to make sure people are aware of the different workshops and open houses?
Yes, we were happy to come back. And, in particular, we look forward to potentially coming back about this time next year when we have a draft plan available. So that might be a good time to talk about how the policies and recommendations specifically affect people in the communities affected by this ANC.
Before the
We're going
policy.
to release draft policies for discussion about this time next year. So, in the fall of 2026, we're going to release a full draft plan for discussion. And that might be a really good time for us to come back and talk with this group again. And if there's a matter that we can be helpful with, we're more than happy to do everything we can.
Yeah. I'll say we're also like outside of these two workshops, we'll be working to organize some focus discussions. And so happy to let you know about those because I think a lot of those will apply to both these commissioners and also folks within the broader Ward 5 community and especially the neighborhoods of 5D and 5C.
Perfect. Okay, so we have time for two more questions, but I also see Commissioner McCray has their hand raised.
Yes, so mine is more just a quick comment for you all. Just in terms of kind of just a foot stomp on what Commissioner Roach just mentioned. Like in this lead up in before the drafts, like you will be issuing, or the zoning commission more so will be issuing a lot of different upcoming rulings, right? And in that process, if they don't align to kind of where you're going, there's going to be a mismatch still. So just kind of an understanding a little bit more around kind of even an upcoming case that I know will happen this week in terms of industrial use versus mixed use zoning, right? So when it comes to these kind of, all right, we're here right now and then it might change, understanding how that impacts the community in that process. So I just want to kind of foot stomp that point, but also say like, like getting an understanding of if we are at a baseline right now and it's going to change and then the comprehensive plan is going to come out later on, there could be conflicts, there's going to be mismatches, and kind of what does that look like how are we as a community supposed to kind of understand these, because zoning cases aren't going to stop while this comprehensive plan is being developed. So what does that actually look like to residents?
That's a really good question. You know, a building can be entitled under current zoning. Many buildings will receive development approval under the current comprehensive plan between now and 2028. We take that into account when we're updating land use policy in the comprehensive plan, and those are conversations that we look forward to having with this community and many others across the city, because there may be some complicated situations that we will need to come to an approach to how to handle.
Perfect. Okay, quickly, for the sake of time, Skip Keats. For the stakeholders in housing, as the population ages, it would be wise to encourage developers to build apartments and other homes with features that lend themselves to such aging. For example, wider doors to allow for wheelchairs, which may be masked as double doors. Is this something that residents can request when doing your outreach and focus groups?
Yes, this is exactly the kind of feedback that we'll be receiving. And we'll be taking feedback from a lot of different viewpoints, but it's certainly, telling us about your lived experience and what you expect to need in your communities and your homes is very helpful to hear about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Okay. And we have Ms. Diggs. Ms. Diggs, if you can quickly ask your question, so you can be the final one to ask.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to know, when does affordable housing actually become affordable? So we've heard this term bandied around for many, many years, and you all keep coming in and you all keep saying we're going to have affordable housing. Affordable housing, as it currently stands, is not affordable to most people I know, including myself. And so, we're not really sure. You all keep countertizing and saying that you're going to work with us, and the developers come in and they have these great ideas that they come with, but the fruition of that idea is a different deal. It comes out to be a completely different thing. It doesn't actually assist or benefit us. Thank you.
It's a difficult question. There are a lot of different kinds of affordable housing. They're affordable to people with different incomes, different size of families, and that's something that it's important to have conversations about affordable to who and how. And those are conversations that we need to have through this planning process. Those are things that real life implications of the policies that we make as a city that we need to talk about as a community and understand where our priorities are and what our options are.
I will say, yeah, we're taking a comprehensive view of affordability. At the recent H Street Fest that I mentioned we were at, we had a poll where we were asking residents a question of what does affordability mean to them and what types of housing affordability were they looking for, as well as what types of housing, because you can have affordable housing, but if it's a single one-bedroom apartment, that's not going to work for everybody, right? So we need affordable housing of different types of households as well.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, I'll just add as the chair for this ANC. If you all do come back, expect more questions specifically on that topic, and get ready to take all the smoke, because the south side of Ward 5, we are one of the final lines of affordability or good cheap housing in the ward, and it's something that we're not seeing that often, being that our neighborhoods are being more and more gentrified by the day. So definitely going to continue that conversation. Hopefully we see y'all soon. And thank you so much for tonight's presentation.
Thank you. We take this work very seriously and we look forward to having those conversations.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Great to hear.
Thank
Y'all have
you.
a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Okay. Andy, I know we're a little early, but I believe Jeremiah Montague is available, our ANC 5D historian. Gonna have a presentation for us.
I have attempted to promote Jeremiah twice.
He might have
Um,
stepped away since he
yeah.
is early.
Oh, it looks like he's rejoining now. So give it 1 second.
Perfect. And our next presenter is available as well. Perfect. So for those that don't know, as Jeremiah gets situated with technology as a panelist, ANC 5D last year, was it last year or this year? I think it was last year. The original proposal was submitted last year for ANC 5D historian. We requested as historian and attained Mr. Jeremiah Montague to be a historian for a project to help us learn more about the land that we call home, specifically the history of ANC 5D, which covers Ivy City, Carver Langston, Trinidad, Union Market, and Gallaudet University. After hiring Mr. Montague, he's been doing some extensive research on the land and letting us know what exactly has been going on the last few hundred years out here on this part of the city. So please give them your undivided attention. This is a preview to some of the work that they've been doing and looking forward to another presentation at a later date. Mr. Montague, are you there? You're muted, sir, if you're speaking.
Unmute.
There you go, Mr. Montague. We can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Is this Poughkeepsie? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I appreciate you having me here. Hopefully, I won't bore you with stuff that you've already heard or know about. But and then for just a matter of clarity for the myself and the commission, so you all are not meeting in December, so you're going to meet in January. So the final project has to be delivered after the contract date.
It sounds like we'll have to amend next month if necessary.
Yeah, it's a technical thing. It's not a biggie to me.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, so here is the an early report on what I found for ANC 5D and my travels in the community. So we've had several status meetings, myself and Commissioner Saucedo Guzman. We've discussed goals and efforts. I'm in the process of conducting community surveys, developing presentation materials. I did something very dangerous this evening. I actually updated this presentation not less than 30 minutes ago. You never do that on the day of a presentation, but I did it. We're in the process of trying to outline a permanent archival repository for the information that we collect, and then produce the final contract deliverables. So that will be appropriated and that people will have ready access to. So as part of this process, we had to develop a theme, and it was really difficult to try and figure out what would be appropriate and not offensive. Okay, so I thought we'd just call it the other folks, the Capitol Border people, because these communities that we're about to talk about are on the border of the city of Washington, okay? By definition, there's the boundary road, which divides the city from the county. There were earlier farms, estates, and plantations, which we rarely talk about. There was sports, hunting, and gaming. One of the less seamy sides of the District of Columbia, the Territory of Columbia. And then there's the big story of disparity. There's a need to talk about race, economics, industrialism, and the cyclical rise and decline of communities. It's probably unavoidable, but we just heard a presentation on the comp plan, and the comp plan is supposed to guide us on how things go and improve over conditions in the past. So with this effort that you all hired me to do, I'm trying to tell the stories and illuminate the myths, the fiction, and the facts, okay? There are several ways to tell the story and by who's telling the story. The storyteller's perspective is, am I telling it for something that I want people to know? Am I telling it because I'm trying to meet a specific community requirement? Am I telling it to elucidate the, what the hell was, oh, excuse me. Something just fell, I don't know what it was. Or from a cultural perspective, in this tough time, we find that a lot of discussions are being shaded, given a perspective one way or the other. And it's not necessarily the best way a story is supposed to be told. A story should be told in a factual manner, whether we like what the outcome is or not. It's to make us aware of how things are, how things got to be, what we can do maybe to avoid them in the future. But there also is an underlying story called acts of intent. Things that happen intentionally, even though the messaging may make it seem like it's a community beneficial thing. Okay? So part of this project in the end will expose some of the myths, some of the fictions that surround our communities and build facts. But it will also illuminate the fact that there were covenants and exclusions that brought these communities into being and continue to persist and bear heavily on these communities and their future. So I'm trying very hard not to make this a retelling effort. There are many places where you can go and find what we already know. I'm trying to find new things and elevate them so that they add to the richness of the story and the community. I want this to cause people to get out of their houses and to walk around or those to choose to drive to see what's going around. And that requires being a sleuth, finding the truth, doing the research, gathering the information, and then validating what you find. Because sometimes the stories that are told need to be checked in multiple places. Things may be off by a day or a year, or a story was told a certain way because it was told for a certain community or certain group. We are in the process of building a living archive so that when I step away from this at the end, it will have a portal where people can come and contribute as they find information, as relatives pass away, relatives move, and they go back and they open up one of those old boxes and this, that, and the other, and they're like, oh, I didn't know this. There's a place for it can be placed and becomes a narrative of a repository for the community as a whole. So we want to eliminate the revelations that we find and the narratives, and we want to be able to maintain those as digital media, audio, video, and in print. We want to make it accessible to everybody, wherever they are and how they choose to engage it. So, but it also, at the very foundation of it, is providing evidence of work. Okay, that's through presentations, oral delivery, the digital content, and the print material. So the first thing I want to talk about is the thing we rarely talk about, the people who lived here before any of us got here, okay? And those were the Indian tribes, okay? The Anacostians, the Convoys, Canois, which were the Piscataway tribe, the Pamunkeys, the Nintangos, which are Nanticoke, the Mattaponi, and the Chickahominy. These tribes may not all have been in our immediate area, but they passed through the area and they engaged each other. But in the normal narrative of talking about Ivy City, talking about Langston, Carver, Anacostia, we don't discuss these folks, but these folks were here. In the early days, in the 1600s, there was the period of exploration, and then there was the period of colonization. And it's something that we just can't get around, okay? So in the early days, we always talk about what happened in 1619. Well, 1619, the first people brought into the country were brought in a misnomer. They were enslaved, but they were called indentured. And therefore, they were treated as a different class of people because if they were indentured, they could buy themselves out of their slavery. It kind of dismissed the fact that they were in bondage. And they weren't always people of color that came as indentured, but the people who were of color suffered more severely than others. In addition to that, the building of the immediate communities where we're talking about, that started early as the founding of the district, the federal city, was the Not Young in the Brentwood Manor, which doesn't exist today. The railroad, which came in 1834, 1835, the opening of Kendall Green by Amos Kendall, and the School for the Deaf, Mount Olivet Cemetery, which was the first racially integrated cemetery in the area, a little place that almost no one here knows about called Cottage Hill. Cottage Hill was actually outside of where we now call Starburst Plaza, where the CVS sits. Okay, so there was Graceland, the cemetery, which was at the corner of Benning Road and Turnpike, Bladensburg Road. But there was also an area called Cottage Hill, and it was one of the earliest subdivisions in the area. And then there was Graceland Cemetery. We always talk about Hechinger Mall, but very few people understand that that mall was built on top of a former cemetery. And that's where African Americans were allowed to be buried, because prior to 1871, there was a certain point where Congress forbid the opening of new cemeteries. Black folks at that point, couldn't be buried inside the federal city, so they had to find someplace else. The odd thing about this is that William Corcoran, who we'll talk about in a little bit, actually owned that land. And he was part of the family that owned the original Riggs Bank, or it was the Columbia Bank, or the Bank of the District or something back in the day. But he owned a vast amount of property. And so the Arboretum, he's responsible for the Arboretum. He's responsible for where Hechinger Mall is. The Hechinger family bought the land from Corcoran. And so all of these things are tied, but they're never really exposed. Hopefully with this slide, you can see that at one point, Trinidad, in its early incarnations, was home to the American League Park. And so right at the corner of where Delta Towers is, there was a brick company. And prior to that, the land was sold and it was used for 2 years as one of the first baseball stadiums in the city. That before it moved over to where Griffith Stadium is, where the Howard University Hospital is. And that was from 1901 to 1903. It kind of moved back and forth, back and forth. It eventually succumbed to being burned down because it was next to a lumber yard. There was a fire in the lumber yard, and the lumber yard burned down the whole baseball stadium. So let's talk a little bit about Ivy City and some of the other neighborhoods. The original incarnation of Ivy City was called New City, DC. It was a place to to entice African Americans to move from the federal city, from the city of Washington, to the suburbs. Okay, so post-Civil War, the District of Columbia had a very large non-white population, and the white population was very uncomfortable with it. Okay, but land was made available outside across the boundary road to where the non-white population could move. And they created a proposal called New City. And that was in 1872, during a period of time when Washington actually had a territorial government. That's when it flipped over from being a territory of Columbia to become part of the District of Columbia. So most people think of the District of Columbia as going back to 1801, and that's not, 1791, and that's actually not true. Back then, it was referred to as the territory. More importantly to our communities that we're talking about is that New City was a racial inducement to get African Americans to move out of Washington City proper. That land sat, but a lot of people, maybe 40 families moved in the beginning, but it was very slow before it turned over and became used for that purpose. Trinidad, which has a very interesting story behind it. The case of the Barrys and how Trinidad got its name. Okay. The Corcorans, the Columbian College, the Washington Brick Machine Company. So in the earliest days, there were three parties that were involved in the formation of Trinidad. Okay. There's no dispute about where the name came from, but it was where it originated and who was the originator. There was a James Barry, who was a surgeon at one point in Trinidad in the West Indies, very well known. And the story is this was a person who lived their life as a man, but when they passed away, found out it was actually a woman. Come to find out, as in research, she actually took the name of her uncle, and that's how she became James Barry. Now, there is no definitive record that said she ever made it to this area, but she is, or she, he, they are attributed with the name Trinidad. Okay. Now, there was a second James Barry who was a captain and a merchant and a profiteer. He came from Ireland, moved to Maryland, and lived in Baltimore in the Patapsco area. He most likely is the original James Barry where the land came from, because he had connections to George Washington, Andrew Jackson, and Thomas Jefferson. And he was very well known, and there are documents of their interminglings and friendships and the land transition. So we actually have record of a deed being transferred from James Barry to William Wilson Corcoran, who was from the Corcoran family in Georgetown, and Corcoran purchased the property. Corcoran held on to the property until the election of Abraham Lincoln. Corcoran was not a Southern sympathizer, but he had no good feelings about Abraham Lincoln and his election, and he literally left the country as soon as that happened. Okay. Corcoran deeded his property over to the Columbian University because Corcoran was one of the original trustees. When that time left, the Columbian University really didn't need all of the property, but they were strapped for cash. So they sold the property again to the Washington Brick Machine Company. They were the ones where, as we saw with the baseball stadium, baseball ballpark field, and eventually they sold part of the property, and the property was turned over again. So that's the semi-story of the three Barrys, the Corcorans, the Columbian College, and the Washington Brick Machine Company. Present-day Ivy City evolved in 1910. It was a layout that was approved by Congress, because in this area nothing happens before Congress approves it. And the layout is mostly what it is. I gotta back this up just a second if I can do this. I want to talk about, I may not be able to do it. Carver and Langston. Let me just roll with this. Um, so there was a lot of land transferring, going back and forth. The cemetery, Graceland, was eventually closed. Mount Olivet Cemetery opened up. And in the 1930s, there was what was called a WPA project, which is a federally supported project of the New Deal. It was another attempt to create a housing project, but a governmentally sponsored housing project for African Americans. And that would be towards the Anacostia River north of Benning Road. And so what was created was called Langston Dwellings, Langston Terrace. The interesting thing about all of this is that a black man, black architect, designed all of those buildings in a Art Deco style. And those buildings have been preserved very well. I mean, even though they show some scars of the trials and tribulations of their time, they are in very good shape. And many of the amenities that were there are still in place. So Hilliard Robinson was the architect, and his work is still in place. So the building was adorned with terracotta decorations. And but one of the things that I did want to mention is that there is an old laundry, I think it's near 21st Street. And on the building, I used to go past it. I thought that there's a marker on the building. I thought it was Hebrew, and it is actually not Hebrew. It is actually a cornerstone for the Langston development. If you take the time to look at that cornerstone, you will find out it is actually a map layout of the first parts of Langston dwellings. So after that, there was it. Stepping back just a second before that, there was the 1879 exposition, which occurred where the racetrack was outside of then New City, Ivy City. That would be affected by the railroads and the building of Union Station in 1906. The need for the improvement of the National Mall caused the closing of the Center Market, and that caused the opening of the Union Terminal Market in 1931. In addition to that, again, we've already mentioned that in 1938 was the WPA project, which caused Langston Terrace to come into being, and Carver Terrace was developed 2 years later in 1940, from 1940 to 1946, by a guy named Preston Wire. The difference between Langston Terrace and Carver Terrace, Langston Terrace was a government-sponsored project with very restrictive occupancy requirements. The Carver Terrace was done differently. It was a private development under a guy named Preston Wire Sr. And eventually, his family held on to it until recently. But that's part of that evolution. So, as part of this effort, I have to date cataloged 27 different places of worship. Some exist now, some don't. 17 schools and educational facilities, 12 playgrounds and recreation facilities, 2 fire stations that one still exists, one was a previous one, 3 cemeteries, 145 buildings, and I'm still working on that, 93 residences, and I'm documenting the historically designated residents right now before I move on to the others. What the goal with the residences is, if we can find a residence that's not in great shape, but in reasonable shape, we may be able to find some bricks from the original Washington Brick Machine Company, because they produced the vast majority of bricks that were in the city in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And I'm pretty sure that when those buildings were built at Carver and Langston, as well as other parts of the city, those bricks are in those buildings. In addition, over the evolution of time, there were 36 different neighborhoods and subdivisions that make up the ANC 5D area. There were 10 community associations. I've dug into 65 different biographies of people, and we're still adding to that. And we're trying to find biographies of people that are already not documented elsewhere. So we will, in the repository, provide links to information from people from elsewhere, but we're trying to collect as much as we can that's new, that's unknown. And then there were 27 different issues with roads and passages. So in 1873, there was the new city. It was placed on what was called a Youngsboro Tract, which originated in 1793, formerly of the Fenwick family, who were descendants of Thomas Notley, one of the original proprietors, the landowners in the District of Columbia or the Territory of Columbia. 40 families purchased land when the original new city DC land opened up. Sales progressed really slowly. They didn't get improved streets until 1910, and that's when the current Ivy City started to take off. Between 1879, 1897, there was what was called the National Fairgrounds Association, which operated a kind of like a World's Fair, an industrial World's Fair. And that lasted until 1890, but there was also a racetrack. And the racing was not, it was liked by certain parts of the District of Columbia, but not by others. And Congress had forbid betting and such gaming things within a mile of the city. And the National Fairgrounds racetrack was within 1/2 mile straight line to the Capitol building. There was lawsuits back and forth about it, whether or not it should exist as this and the other. Different syndicates came in and tried and ran it, and eventually it ended moving out to Benning on Benning Road. But one of the things that undermined the National Fairgrounds was the re-envisioning of Union Station, the building from 1901 and 1907. And that caused the need for the rail yards to move off of Virginia, what's present-day Virginia Avenue, and they moved to Ivy City when it was largely a coal and steam operation. So from 1908 to 1910, again, we had the relocation of non-white population, providing inducements to get them to move to Ivy City, which was a residential industrial area. There was in World War I, there was an area called Camp Wine View where the current Union Market sits. And it was a military hospital center. The Alexander Crummell School, which was built under the colored division of the DC Public Schools, built between 1910 and 1911 and 1910. I did backwards. 1937, after the partial extension of New York Avenue, the Heck Company saw a need to build its large warehouse, and then it expanded it in 1948. Greyhound bus lines moved their maintenance shops to Ivy City in 1947. A lot of the environmental issues that occur within present-day Ivy City are the result of things that happened between 1900 and 1950. This shows, I just found this today. These are photos of the buildings of that were on the National Fairgrounds. So they weren't just minor tents and this, that, and the other. These are full-scale buildings like you would see down at the Smithsonian. And those buildings are long gone. The bricks, while these buildings were mostly wood, the bricks came from the Washington Brick Machine Company, which was part of Trinidad. Okay. And at the bottom of it, you can see the grandstand for the racetrack. One of the things that I want to mention is there was what was called the oh God, what's called Sport of Kings. I'm sorry. And there were three jockeys, African American jockeys. And what most people didn't know is that early horse racing in America relied upon African American jockeys. And there was a story that was lost and not talked about, right? But three of them lived and worked in Washington, and they lived and worked in the Ivy City, Trinidad area. Okay. And that would be Willie Sims, who began racing in 1887. And he won actually 5 of the early races that became part of the Triple Crown Series. Isaac Burns Murphy, who lived from 1861 to 1896, was a 3-time Kentucky Derby winner. And he weighed, I think, like 90 pounds, okay? And then Oliver Lewis, from 1856 to 1924, won the first Kentucky Derby. So on the back of that horse was a black man, okay? But we don't hear about that. The other thing I want to talk about is Kendall Green. I didn't call it Gallaudet University. I'm calling it Kendall Green because that's what the land was originally called. Initially, it was this long, sprawling estate, okay? One of the things that happened was that when the telegraph was first developed in 1844, F.B. Morris, who owned the telegraph company, ran the lines across and made the property unattractive, but it didn't stop it from being used because he was getting Kendall was getting money from it. Okay. In addition, in 1856, Kendall opened a school for the deaf. He created dormitories, and eventually there was a whole progression into the college and the university. 1864, the school began to offer collegiate degrees. What I would like for people to walk away from this evening is that the first African-American deaf graduate was Andrew Jackson Foster in 1954. So that is and that's a photo of him. Going back again, this just simply recaps the different steps on how Trinidad came to be, how land transferred from person to person, da 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 da. The stories about, oh, and I didn't mention one of the 3 Barrys was actually an enslaved person who got deported. But there's very little information about him except that he was captured on a Dutch ship called La Pence. And then he was spirited away to Trinidad and never heard from again. We've already gone over the history of the New City and the National Fairgrounds, which is really, really important because it doesn't exist anymore. But there's also nothing that commemorates it. The only thing that's sitting there now is Amtrak's Ivy City Yards. The Union Market. Its actually real name is the Union Terminal Market, built in 1931. It was formerly on what was called the Finley General Hospital, which was active during the Civil War. That was upon what was called the Patterson Tract from the Patterson family, which goes back to Notley Young, the original proprietors of the District of Columbia. It replaced the Center Market, which was established in 1928, formally opened in 1921, and improved in 2012. One of the things that happened that people don't talk about is that everybody talks about that was the Florida Avenue Market and how wonderful it was and this, that, and the other. There was a sanitation issue, and they actually sold butchered livestock on at the market. And because there were health concerns, that part of the market was closed, and it caused the market decline. So the foot traffic and the car traffic that was getting stopped. Also at the same place was Camp Meigs, okay, which operated during World War I from 1917 to 1920. And then post Camp Meigs in the 1920s, Ringling Brothers, Bonner and Bailey used to come every year and have the circus. Ford Motor Company had a huge $3 million tractor exhibition there on more than one occasion. And then there was the Miller Brothers, who had a Wild West show that would show up periodically in that same space. So it wasn't always a market. It had a variety of entertainment uses that occurred in that space. I want to talk about, even though this slide is mislabeled, I want to talk a little bit about the Langston Golf Course. The Langston Golf Course is in itself a pearl, okay? It is one of two public golf courses. This was actually created in 1938 for African Americans over the objection of the Trinidad Civic Association, okay? Whole different group of people at the time. And in addition to that, the Lincoln Park Civic Association, because it was a place for white folks only, okay? And they filed with, then was Millard Tidings, who eventually became governor of Maryland. He was a senator at the time. And they basically said, no, we're building the golf course, and that's what's going to happen. So it opened as a 9-hole golf course and was eventually expanded to an 18 golf course with the help of Lee Elder. And it actually became, on the Pro Golfers Tour, what they would call a legitimate, even though it was legitimate from the beginning, a well-known golf course, and it's now being redone or enhanced by the Park Service. So we talked about Langston Terrace. Langston Terrace is 1938, opened with 470 units under the WPA. There, the original architect was Hilliard Robinson. There were other buildings in Langston, in Carver, and in Trinidad, which were designed by an architect named George T. Santmeyers. And I mentioned him because Santmeyers is from Woodridge. So the Langston Golf Course from 1939, 1955 was the first golf course for African Americans, opening June 11th, 1939 with 9 holes. Was expanded in 1955 to 18 holes. Lee Elder, pro golfer, was the manager from 1978 to 1981. Carver Terrace, built between 1940 and 1941, is a project of Preston E. Wire, who died in 1952. And the original Carver Terrace, which opened in 1946, had 312 units, which were in 36 three-story buildings. I think this is a repeat. There's an image of one of the community signs in Carver Terrace. Now, I just acquired these 5 photos, which from Ms. Sharon Turner, who is the vice president of the Friends of the Woodridge Woodridge Library. These are from 1948 and 1951, where Ms. Turner lived in Carver Terrace on Maryland Avenue. So these are her, as she said, her mama's Easter pictures, okay? And so it's really interesting because not only do you see them in their little Easter finery, in the background, you can actually see the Carver Terrace buildings. And you can see this is what Maryland Avenue looked back like in 1948, 1951. So I just threw that in for interest. There are educational campuses, right? So there's Spingarn, actually Elias Spingarn, which was built in 1952 and being converted to the DC Infrastructure Academy by Bell Architects, which is supposed to open this fall in 2025, more like this winter. There is Phelps, where my dad went to school, and Phelps was originally built in 1912, but it was built in Northwest. And then it was rebuilt in 1934 and then remodeled in 2009. So originally it opened as the Cardozo Vocational School in Northwest. It became the Phelps Trade School in 1924, and it's now called the Phelps ACE, Architecture, Construction, and Engineering School, which opened in 2025. There's the Hugh Mason Brown Educational Campus, with the original building built 1932 by Arthur L. Smith and Company and modified from 1947, 1957, 1971. And the last school is a Charles Young Junior High School, which was originally built in 1931 by the Graham Construction Company. On that same campus is the DC streetcar, which is about to stop being in less than a year. But here's some pictures of Spingarn, just general interest, Phelps, Brown, and the fields there. There's DC streetcar, which was actually supposed to be a training ground for students at Spingarn, but that never happened. And then tonight's little interjection was, there's a new mural in Trinidad. So I have actually gone, this is some of the pictures are from the first celebration of it, and then there are pictures in there from the finished product. So let me tell you, the word is, if you want to say something loudly, Trinidad has done it. And so this is going to be here for years and years and years and years and years. Just as refresher or just commentary, a lot of what happened in these communities was affected by the railroads, road expansions like New York Avenue, Bladensburg Road. But there was also, at one point, there was where Graceland Cemetery is, or was, there was actually a railroad station from the Washington, Baltimore, and Annapolis Electric Railway, which could take you to Prince Frederick, and it also could take you to Baltimore. There was a street railway which ran down Bladensburg Road called the Washington, Greta, and Spa Spring for a period of time. And then there was the Columbia Car House, even though technically it's across the street in Isherwood. It was a Columbia Railway Company, and that brought people out to the community. We already talked about this. So I think the last thing before we get to Q&A is that I have, as part of the process, I'm developing drafts of brochures that we will, as a final product, be able to hand out. And so for each community, it will have highlights, much like they just did for the walk that we did in Woodridge. So each community will have its own specialized, customized thing that we can hand a brochure and historical information thing to be handed out. So these are just samples of the 10 of them that have been done so far for each community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Montague. For the sake of time, if anyone has a pressing question to ask our historian, feel free to drop it in the Q&A. I know Ms. Diggs wanted to make a comment, I believe, on something.
Yeah, hi, how are you? So Jeremiah, I'm not sure where you got that information from. Charles Young was an elementary school, the one I attended in 1959. It was never a junior high. Brown was the junior high school.
No, thank you.
Um, I know you mentioned, Mr. Montague, that we're going to make all this information readily available to the public once the research project is
But I thank
completed.
you for all you've done.
I will say that it's very thorough, and that's what we were looking for this project. Because a lot of folks don't realize a lot of history that's occurred out here. We tend to call this place home because it's full of homes, but there was obviously a whole rackload of activity occurring on the spaces that now are considered our block. So I will say thank you so much for the work so far, and I know you're still continuing to do work on this project. You are the historian we hired, and you are the historian that we deserve. So I'll say that much that we really enjoyed the presentation. Were there any commissioners or any other members of the public? Did they have any questions for Mr. Montague? If not, he can also be reached at a later time to continue doing some of this work. Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes, I had put it in the chat that some of the homes in Ivy City was made from those bricks. And I might have missed it, but did you mention that the mound that made the bricks are at the Arboretum?
Different company.
Oh, really? What's the name of that company?
It was called a United, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head, I think it was called a United Brick Company.
Right. Okay.
Now, there were actually in Ivy City or
Mhm.
in this general area, there
Mhm.
was the Washington Brick Machine company who sold over to the Ivy City Brick Company,
Mhm.
who eventually moved over to the United Brick Company,
Mhm.
which is out on New York Avenue.
Okay. But that's all history. And then was a lot of the stuff that you're saying, nobody is saying. They're trying to erase our history. They're trying to do away with our communities. They're gentrifying our communities. And our communities are so rich in history that they want to bury it and make it seem like it didn't happen.
Well,
So I appreciate everything you're doing, and this needs to be relayed over and over again, especially with this new comp plan coming up, and with these the people that's trying to displace uh, folks that's been living in these communities forever, and like Kendall and Corcoran, those are streets in Ivy City. It's a Kendall
right.
Street, Corcoran Street, and they're literally trying to displace everybody, our whole history, and make places like Ivy City and Trinidad uh, unaffordable. When it was supposed to be all this area, Carver Langston, all of these areas was supposed to be for us to be able to live and be comfortable, and now they're making it uncomfortable. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, hopefully when in the future when plans are being made or formulated for, as they say, improvements, that we are able to lay these things out and cause a deep thought before it happens. And so I have to believe that if you speak strongly enough and you post it around enough as constant reminders, like I said, that cornerstone, which is on the old laundry building right behind the gas station on Benny Road, that in itself, it documents 1937 when they started building Langston, okay? And that is now something that should never disappear. I don't care what they do, should never disappear. In the later presentations, probably in January, there will be more extensive things. Because I just did a walkthrough of 26th Street through the backside of Carver. And I don't refer to them as Carver Langston. They have their own unique personalities and they have their own unique reasons for being, and through Langston. Okay. The day I did it was one of those jury days. I didn't feel uncomfortable. And I was able to take my pictures, and some of the older residents said, "Why are you taking pictures?" But everybody was very pleasant, and they came up and said, well, do you know about so and so? Do you know about so and so? So it's about elevating the community, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Thank you, Mr. Montague. With that being said, we'll take a pause on tonight's presentation and bring it back to the public, most likely in January. Definitely give you more time to give a thorough presentation. We hope to do it in person, so we can get that real lecture feel for this project. But either way, we appreciate all the work you've done this far and looking forward to the final product.
Well, one of the things that I'm hoping to be able to do is that we will have plaques and things that can be placed on the wall in the ANC office. And then when you go to, like when they did the Ward 5 Day, and we had the little community boards, now we'll have the 6 foot tall thing that you pull out and it says Trinidad, or it says Ivy City, or it says Carver, or it says Langston. In addition, and he would say, "Oh, you want to know about us? Here, read this." So I appreciate you all having me, and I'm ready to shut up and go home and go to sleep. Okay.
Thank you, sir. You have a good rest of your night.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along with tonight's agenda, we do have Mr. Christopher Rutledge from Friendship Place. Mr. Rutledge, you can go ahead and take the time from here.
Yes, hi, and thank you for everyone. I know you've got a full agenda, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I really wanted to let you know that we are here, Friendship Places, as a resource citywide. I mean, I'll give you a little bit of history of our work. We've been around for 34 years, and what we do is help connect people to housing, employment, food, clothing, really a number of different programs and activities. And we try to be a place where people can come where if they have various different needs. Just last year, we served 5,400 people throughout the city and the DC metro area. That includes about 1,500 kids, about 750 veterans and their family members. We know we want to be here for the most vulnerable. And of course, these are difficult times economically. And so I know there's a lot of worry out there. And I wanted to talk about maybe a couple of the programs that we offer that could be of interest or help to folks who might find themselves in need. The first and probably most important one, we offer a drop-in center that is on Wisconsin Avenue, but it's open to everyone throughout the city, and it's actually conveniently located a few blocks north of the Tenley Metro, a few blocks south of the Friendship Heights Metro, and along the Wisconsin Avenue buses. So we really do see people come to visit us throughout the city, throughout the region. And that Welcome Center is open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 9 to 12, and again from 1 to 4. And it's a place where someone who, if they find themselves in need, can talk to a case manager, talk to someone to see what other services might be accessible, either through Friendship Place or through other service providers. People can get a hot meal, people can get a bottle of water, just get out of the cold, get out of the heat, and really just a place to help reset. We also accept mail for people who might not have a fixed address, and this allows them to access various government documents. We also operate a privately funded program called Aim Higher, and that is an employment program. And what that does is focus on what's called a jobs first model. And through that jobs first model, we don't put people through training, although certainly there's a call for training programs in the world. But our model is to identify what skills people have right now and match them to jobs that are available right now. And again, economically, I know it's a scary time out there, a difficult time. And so what we're able to do is get people into employment so that they can then move towards self-sufficiency. And again, if they want to move to different jobs, we can certainly help connect them through training after that. But our job is truly to get people employed as quickly as possible. If you go on our website, you can see our impact report that has a lot more information here, but I wanted to just highlight, some of the programs that, we offer here. And this is one of the pages in our impact report. You see that we do permanent supportive housing on behalf of the city. So if someone has a voucher and needs to be connected to case management, we do that service on behalf of the city, whether it be individuals or whether it be families. We're there and available to be that service provider for folks. And again, we get referred people via DHS to go into that permanent supportive housing. We also operate a couple of buildings on behalf of the city. We operate a facility for men that is permanent housing, but we also operate two transitional facilities, one over in that's for individuals and families with adults in them over in the Foggy Bottom West End area. We offer another building on Idaho Avenue for families. Again, we get referrals from the city, and we have a great working relationship with the city, helping to provide that short-term housing for people who may just need a bridge to get into what comes next, and that's our goal here. We have an ample veterans program. As I mentioned, served over 700 veterans last year, helping, and again, not just in the district, but in the area. And we've actually just expanded to an additional, I believe it's a half dozen counties in the area. We know we don't want to leave the most vulnerable veterans behind. They served our country, and so we should be serving them. And so we do that through some rapid rehousing program. I mentioned the drop-in center. One of the interesting parts of the drop-in center, two sort of programs that tie on from that. One is a clinic. We have medical and psychiatric services available with the help of Unity Healthcare. And so, if someone needs to get that basic scan, medical exam, we can do that. And because we connect with Unity Healthcare, if there's something a little more involved that someone might need medically, we can work with Unity to get them into that more detailed work. We also do youth programming. We have some youth street outreach programs. So we go out and see people who are on the street who are vulnerable. We do something called a Before 30 program, providing specialized service for people ages 17 to 29 at that vulnerable age where people could find themselves, really tipping into a difficult circumstance where, we want to be able to catch them before they fall into a crisis or greater crisis. And of course, we have street outreach that comes out of the Welcome Center also. So we have staff members who'll go around and talk to people who are in need and provide them with the tools they need to keep safe, to keep warm, to keep cool during the summer, really just there to be a place where we can help provide safety. So, we pride ourselves in working citywide. We're not just in one quadrant, not just in one ward, not just in one community. We are citywide, and people come to us from all over the place, and we're just we want to make sure we get the word out to as many different communities as possible because we know it's very important that the need is throughout the city, and we want to be there to serve in that way. So again, I know that you have a large agenda here, and I really don't want to take up more time, but I'm very happy to answer any questions folks may have. And I couldn't see if there was anything in the chat. I apologize. Here we go. There we go.
Hi, Chris. No, you can continue on if you have more information.
I don't really. This is why I just wanted to have the opportunity to say hi and also to drop in the chat if anyone has any specific questions. Let me drop in my email. I dropped it in earlier, but I'm going to put it back in so that you have this available. If you have any questions, or if you know someone who's in crisis, I work in external affairs, so I do the fundraising and marketing and communications, but our advocacy work, but I certainly work very, very closely with our programmatic teams. And if you find someone who has a need that we might be able to address, please email me and I will connect you with the right people, the right programs. And we are here to serve the community, and we're very proud of the fact that we've been able to do this for 34 years. I will tell you just a little bit of our origin story. We grew out of a wish from the mayor in 1991 to put a men's shelter at the Guy Mason Rec Center. At the time, there were two groups in the community. One who said such a thing was not necessary, that there was no need, and a second group who said that well, we know that there are people who are unhoused in need in our community, and they lobbied and advocated for this. Now, unfortunately, the mayor did not decide to put that facility in back in 1991, but that second group of neighbors said, we know people exist, and we know there are about 100 people up and down Wisconsin Avenue at the time who were in need. So they knew they had to serve them. So they bought a van. And they all pitched in, bought a van, and we drive up and down Wisconsin Avenue to bring people the things that we now distribute via the Welcome Center and our street outreach team: water, socks, things you need to stay safe and healthy. About 2 years after that, what is now our Welcome Center, which is on Wisconsin Avenue at Davenport, came on the market. It was a flower shop, and those neighbors once again pitched in and bought the building to turn it into the drop-in center. And it's just phenomenal to think that this organization that started with just a few neighbors helping 100 people going up and down Wisconsin Avenue has become, over these 34 years, a large organization serving over 5,000 people a year in a variety of different programs. And the hallmark of our work has been to see what the need is and figure out a way to meet that need. And we're proud of that. And we're here to serve. So if there's anybody who has a need in the community, reach out to me. We'll make some connections and help to fulfill those needs.
Sure. I want to give the commissioners a chance to ask questions, and then after that, we'll get the audience to ask questions.
Sure. I think I saw Commissioner Rublin raise her hand.
I have a
Thank you.
as well. So after everybody get their chance, I'll ask my questions. Thanks. Go ahead, Commissioner Robin.
Thank you. So I know you said that if somebody has a voucher, you'll help them get housing, but do you also help people get vouchers?
People come to us, they're assigned to us via DHS. So I believe they'll have had vouchers beforehand, and then DHS assigns them to us.
Okay, so you can't help people with getting a voucher, really?
I don't think so. I think that people who are coming to us from being assigned.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner McCray.
Yes. Can you guys hear me? Sorry. All right, cool. Do you happen to have any like pamphlets or anything that you could like send to us just in case like we see somebody going through something? Is there like a brochure or something that we can have to hand out to residents if they need it, or something along those lines?
We have a pocket guide that lists not just our services, but services throughout the city that is quite helpful. So what I will, and we have it both electronically and a hard copy. What I can do is tomorrow I'll email you uh, the the electronic copy, and then if I can get your address when I email that to you, we can certainly send you hard copies of the pocket guide. I think I've got a whole bunch in my office. It's a very handy thing. But oftentimes people will ask, well, what can I do when I see someone who's unhoused? And one of the things you could do is share that pocket guide with them. And again, it lists services and not just ours. It's something we really make to be something that is as encompassing as much as possible with all the different services that are available. We're very fortunate that we're in a city where there's a lot of people wanting to do good work, and we want to make sure that people who come to us are aware of all of those.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Of course, no, thank you. I'll make a note to send you the pocket guide tomorrow.
I also want to ask, is there a income limit for Friendship Place? Because now we have, not only the unhoused folks that's already on the DHS, folks that are living in um, the shelters, folks that have vouchers, and that's living in public housing. But now we have folks that can potentially become unhoused due to the furloughs and federal people losing their federal jobs. So, is there an income limit that Friendship Place um, has? And also, you're saying that someone can go in the help center and they can get a meal and they can talk to a caseworker or talk to a counselor, And are there, do you have counselors directed towards different domains like housing, income, food? Do you have different counselors for different things, or do you have the same counselors that you're using for housing are the ones that are welcoming these folks into the Welcome Center?
It really varies by program. So for the Welcome Center, no, there's not an income limit. Anyone can come to the Welcome Center and get services. The case managers are more general. They'll be able to connect to the different services. We do have housing navigators in some of our specific programs that focus on that, and employment navigators who focus on that in other programs. But in general, once you've come to speak to anybody at our drop-in center, they can they connect you in the right direction here. So, just going back to the income level question, again, not really, no limit for the Welcome Center, no limit for AIM Higher, our privately funded program. For the programs that are supported by the city, every program has its own, or the federal government, every program has its own specialties, and those will we get things via referrals for our buildings and for permanent supportive housing. So those get referred from DHS. So they would just whatever the process is on that end would be what's applicable there.
Okay, okay, Commissioner. So say the Guzman.
Were we able to ask the question from Skip Keeps, Commissioner Rhodes?
I had not, but you can.
Perfect. With all the layoffs recently in the area, do your services help those who are job hunting so that they may avoid becoming homeless?
If they wanted to talk, go to our AIM Higher program, certainly that's a great place to start. Our AIM Higher employment program.
Perfect. Can you drop that? Is it possible to get that direct? Is there a direct link for that?
Let me find the. I will drop the. Let me find the.
Chat.
Yeah, I'll drop the page in. The link to the page in the chat and placement.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll drop that in the chat here. I think this should be the right place here. Let's see.
Perfect. Well, I think that's all we have for you tonight, Mr. Rutledge. We appreciate you coming out and sharing some resources with us, especially during these current times.
Of course. No, thank you. And let me see if I can't. Can I add a document too? Let's see. You know what? I'll probably let's see if I can add a document and I could drop a copy of um the pocket guide. If I can do that, I'll drop it in here. If not, I can just email it to you, the commissioners, and we can go from there. That might be the easiest approach. Oh, no, here we go. Open, here we go. Let's see if that'll go up there. Okay, that should work. All right, so you have the pocket guides there electronically. And if anyone wants to send me an email address, I can then make arrangements to get you hard copies of the pocket guides.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me tonight. I know you got a full agenda, so.
You have a great night. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
With that being said, we're moving forward with our agenda. We have consent calendar items. It is 9:45, so we're a little bit over time, but that's entirely fine. I'm sure we can get some of these items knocked out when we hit the voting action items. But for the consent calendar, we have two items, which are timesheets, one for admin personnel and one for former social media manager.
Commissioner, Mr. Kim still needs to speak. He was scheduled for 9:50.
Commissioner, if you're following the agenda, it's a voting action item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I just said we're behind 20 minutes.
Sorry about that.
Two consent calendar items. We have timesheets that we have from other personnel and our former social media manager that relinquished their position at the end of last month. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we approve tonight's consent calendar items as presented and shared with the public. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cholby, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, but real quick, can we just
Okay,
open
go
it?
back. Oh, go back. So Friendly reminder, commissioners, if you want a discussion, please say that first before we start taking votes. So we're opening up a discussion for 3 minutes. Commissioner McCray?
Yes, too long. This is more so an administrative item that the OANC alerted me to from Dawn from the OANC. But just to put it, since we're gonna vote on these as is, what we have to do going forward is there needs to be a signature from um both the quote unquote employee as well as the chair or the vice chair on these timesheets. So just as a clerical note for reference, we can move forward. I asked her if we can move forward with this vote and fix it on the back end, and I was told yes. In terms of signing this, because I did get the review by Commissioner Rhodes already. So timesheets just need to be signed, basically, is what I'm saying. Needs to have a name, needs to have a date, it needs to be signed by Andy or whoever the social media person will be, as well as the chair or vice chair, as we go forth.
Is that before or after a vote?
She didn't necessarily state. I have an email out to her. I just gave her a call today, so I'm waiting on the official answer in an email, but I did let her know we would likely vote on this tonight and that at least for September, we are able to go forth and get it signed on the back end. Commissioner Rhodes already reviewed these, so we should be in a good space. But just putting that out there for reference, that these likely need to be PDF'd with names at the top, dates signed, and by both employee and the ANC as well.
So it sounds like for the minutes, we just need to make sure that moving forward, timesheets are provided in a PDF and signed by both the administrative personnel and one of the chair or vice chairs.
Yes.
We'll do it like that moving forward. Okay, perfect. Going back to the vote, motion is on the floor, second by Commissioner Tolby. I'll just do roll call, 5D01.
Aye.
5D02. 5D03.
Yes.
5D05, yes. 5D06.
Yes.
And 5D09.
Yes.
Thank you. So those consent calendar items are approved. Okay, now going to the big chunk of voting action items that we have tonight. First, we have our ANC 5D budget. That's with Commissioner Cray, treasurer. The ANC commissioners convened at our last committee of a whole meeting to determine our budget. We came to an agreement to present this tonight so we can take a vote on it. Commissioner McCray? You're muted. I'm sorry, Commissioner McCray.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I'm just gonna share what I shared with everyone. This is kind of a this is just the overview of what to expect for the year. Let me make it so that everything fits on here. So just for reference to the community, our balance forward, while this is rounded up, is similar to what we ended off on with the QFR. We have a balance forward for since we had money left over from prior years. So our balance to start this year is $49,324.77. Again, it is just rounded right here, just due to Excel. Our district allotment for FY26, which began on October 1st, is $22,652.35. As we go, that'll lead us to a total funds available for this fiscal year of $71,977. As we spoke as commissioners, just based on some of the items that we've purchased last year, we have two positions that we have within our ANC, and we have the administrative assistant position and the social media position, both of which have a maximum amount of like contract work per month of up to $750. That totals $1,500 per month. So $4,500 per quarter. So that's where we came up with this 18,000 for personnel for FY26. It is based on both the administrative assistants, 750 max, and the social media 750 max. We have direct office costs, which consists of Verizon and the internet in the ring, estimated at about 3,000. It doesn't really hit that, but we just estimated it at a higher end. And again, this is the budget, so this sets how much we're allowed to spend. We can't overspend that without voting. But this is just setting a framework for us as we move forward throughout the year. For our communications budget, some items that might be here are Wix website, Canva, items of that nature, and we budgeted that out to be $1,000. Our office supplies, office equipment, printing, etc. We did not do anything in FY25, so we anticipated that it'll be higher for FY26, so we estimated that at $2,500. We have two kind of grants sections, and just for commissioners' awareness, this was initially split out a little bit differently, but how it's listed on the portal for the OANC, how we have to report it, I kind of played around and added it in here a little differently. But the grants for public purpose like Trinidad Day, etc., the Trinidad, any type of kind of community event, we had that kind of budgeted out as $12,000. I know we've given funds for direct expenditures like the Trinidad mural project that was just spoken about. So I put the beautification kind of projects, mural and art projects, as grants for public expenditures. That is how it's listed in the QFR portal. So I kept it kind of in sync there. So we had that as $12,000. So total grants amount for FY26 is estimated at $24,000. Local transportation, we estimated that at about 500. Nothing for purchase of service, $120 for bank charges, and just miscellaneous fees for in-person snacks for public meetings, items of that sort at about $880. So that puts our total disbursements for the year at $50,000, which would leave us with an ending balance of $21,977. Again, this is a budget. This just sets the framework for what we project to spend potentially, but does not mean we will spend this full amount. So what I would like to do is pause just to see if there's any questions. Any changes?
No, I think you did a really thorough breakdown of what we were expected to spend. And we did make sure that we covered our bases in any potential circumstances that we're seeing due to the federal occupation and changes in government. So I want to say this is probably one of the best budgets I've seen since I've been an ANC commissioner, for real.
Thank you. Thank you. So if no questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to approve the FY26 ANC 5D budget as is, and just kind of based on what was described here.
Okay, I'll second that motion. We'll do a roll call for a quick vote. 5D01.
Aye.
5D02.
Yes.
5D03.
Yes.
5D05 is aye. 5D06.
Aye.
And 5D09.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes and carries out. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you for getting that budget together for us. We'll send it out to the OANC as needed.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So the next one we have is our grant for the Trinidad Farmers Market. We have Mr. Young Kim presenting on the grant. Perfect. Mr. Kim, so you applied for a grant with ANC 5D. Can you tell us a little bit about the purpose of the grant and what you're expected to do with the funds?
Yeah, thank you for having me here tonight. This is a grant that we'll utilize to support this particular event called Trinidad History and Future Fest 2025. We had this event last year, and we will do it again this year around in November. And a chunk of the money will be utilized to support the research component behind the festival. We are collaborating with a local school called Wheatley Education Campus. We have been direct communication with the school principal, as well as the school parent-teacher leadership. And we have their full support to provide and collaborate in a research project that focuses on their school and its history. And the other part of the funding support will be to support the celebration, the music, the DJ, the MCs, to provide some entertaining music for the community. And so there's going to be that plus the historical component for the funding support.
Perfect. Were there any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Rhodes?
Yeah, this history project for Trinidad, what is the difference? What is it, are you collaborating with Jeremiah Montague, who's doing the history of our communities, of all of our communities in the commission? So what are you doing for the Trinidad community that's different than what Jeremiah is doing, other than having music? I guess.
Sure. So yeah, let me back up a little bit. So the first time we did the festival, it was last year. This time last year, it was called same thing, Trinidad History and Future Fest 2024. In that year, we just did a broad look at Trinidad. I think the research that is a doctor. I'm sorry, I didn't get his name. Is it Donahue?
Montague.
Montague. It looks like he's doing a lot more with the surrounding neighborhoods, including Trinidad. The research last year was just on Trinidad, and delving into just kind of the top line historical information that the residents of Trinidad may or may not have known about. And so, but this year, rather than looking at the broad look at the neighborhood, we just chose to look at the school that hosts that event, Wheatley Education Campus. We wanted to focus on that school because they are our host. And so, and we know that that school has a lot of history behind the institution, and the research will focus on that. Oh, and we did reach out to Mr. I think we provided Dr. Jerry Faust, who is leading the research effort. But when I spoke to Dr. Faust, he said he never got any information from anybody. So I think he's sort of, yeah, he went ahead and moved forward with the research because he was not contacted by anyone.
And I will say that that was on me. I was supposed to make that connection, and I'll do that shortly, just so that that connection is made.
Okay. So just to clarify, the funding is going to, I believe, materials for your what's it called? The word is escaping me right now. The Not diorama or anything like that, but the materials needed to actually display some of the work that's been researched,
Yep.
some of your marketing material. Is anything going to anything else for the project or for the event?
So yeah, so one part of the funding support will go towards the research, and then we will gift that research to the school. It will come in the form of a framed poster board that will be professionally made by a company nearby. And then certainly for marketing the event, we have signages. We're spending some amount towards social media campaigns, which we did last year. And then the other part, again, is towards the entertainment component to it. We'll have lively music at the event.
So my reservations are on the entertainment portion specifically, because I noticed that historically the farmers market has not played any go-go bands, and since Trinidad historically has long standing in the go-go community, I'm surprised that hasn't been presented or even, showcased. Is there a reason why?
No reason. We just happen to know of a good entertainer who provides family-friendly, kid-friendly music. I think that thought never came to mind. No one brought it to our attention. But I think in the future, if that's something that the committee and the supporters would like, I think that's certainly something that we would consider. But it was not something that we thought about.
Okay, just because a lot of us that are familiar with the DC culture recognize that Trinidad has long standing in go-go music, and to see that someone's doing an event called Trinidad History or Future Fest and not include that, I'm not saying it looks intentional, but it appears that there's like a missed opportunity, or maybe that's the crowd you're not looking for.
No, that thought never came to mind. So we have a committee. There's a group of us. There are 5 of us that planned for the event. That never came to mind. I think since you brought it up, I think we can certainly talk about it for the next event.
Okay. Were there any other questions or comments from the commission before we take a vote?
I have another comment because Trinidad is historically a Black community. And if that thought never came up about looking at the entire community, then that means that the history of what you're doing is warped. And we believe, just like any place else, inclusion is important, and everybody should be included. Every culture should be included. And I don't see where, no shade on you, but I don't see where this is happening in your project. I didn't see it last year, and I'm not seeing it this year. And that's, even though you didn't do it last year, I would have had expected that you do more of the history that's originally from Trinidad, and not just a partial type history or a gentrified version of the history. And again, no shade on what you're doing. It's just we just got a very rich history from Jeremiah Montague of our communities. And then you're saying you want a grant from our ANC to do an event you're not even, where's the Black history in your event?
It's not fully inclusive, I think is what Ms. Rhodes is saying.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying, if that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it helps at all, we can provide a draft of the research materials that we are, not I, but Dr. Faust is completing. And we also forwarded to you the research materials that we shared with the committee 3 weeks ago. I think you'll see there some of the components that you're discussing here. If you have not seen that research material, I encourage you to do so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I would just say take the note from tonight that to make it more inclusive, maybe just not focus on the south end of the neighborhood, because it seems like that's what the focus has been since last year, and it continues to be even more hyper focused this year with selecting Wheatley as a site to focus on. There is a general understanding that there's a disconnect by some of the Black residents in the neighborhood with the Trinidad Farmers Market. And I think something as simple as a go-go ban can instantly change that. I'm surprised that's never come across anyone's mind on the committee since, again, go-go is the recognized music of the city. And again, Trinidad has a long standing in the go-go community. You can hear any good go-go song and you'll hear Trinidad literally being yelled at in the song. So I just take that note for the future because it appears to be a disconnect and it worries someone like myself and maybe someone like Commissioner Rhodes, where you have an event literally in the title and in the description talking about the future of the neighborhood. So it almost seems like we're promoting this disconnect or this ill understanding of gentrification. So just be very conscious of that because it does worry some folks.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think we gave the feedback that we can give back. Are we ready for a vote for this one? Sounds good. Okay, so who's the commissioner that will be overseeing this grant? I know I'm overseeing the last one from Trinidad Day and we had some hiccups, so I just want to be mindful of who we can particularly check in on. Is that you, Commissioner Roblin?
Yeah, I mean, the regular aspects of it, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll be our bridge. Perfect. I just want to make sure, just because I'm the bridge for the last one, and we just want to have an ANC bridge for this one. Perfect. Okay. So would you like to place a motion on the floor, Commissioner Roblin?
Yeah, I
Move.
move that we support the grant for the Trinidad History and Future Fest.
Perfect. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cray. Just a quick item of discussion. Can you affirm again the total for the grant? I don't think we shared it with the public just for the meeting minutes.
Just clicked out of it. Wait for it, sorry.
Hey, Mr. Young Kim, how far from the actual completion of the project do you think we might be able to get a copy of material that was researched? Maybe 2-3 weeks or?
So Dr. Faust circulated a first draft a few days ago. He just received comments back from the principal. He also received some comments from the executive board of the parent-teacher organization. So he's in the middle of a second draft now.
Okay, so for the meeting minutes, is it possible, just for the record, I'm sorry, can we get that within 30 days after the event?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Did you get that number, Commissioner McCray?
Yes, total $2,500.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, that was discussion. It was motions on the floor by Commissioner Roblin, second by Commissioner McGray. We'll do a roll call vote for this one. 5D01.
Aye.
5D02.
No.
5D03.
Aye.
5D05. Aye. 5D06.
Aye.
And 5D09.
No.
Okay, so what's that vote, Andy?
4 ayes and 2 nays.
Is that?
The ayes have it.
The ayes have it. Okay, thank you. That motion passes. We'll get you situated with that grant through Commissioner Roblin and Commissioner McCray, Mr. Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Now we do have some more items here, y'all. The next one, I wasn't able to write the proposal itself for the Pumpkin Fest, but I'll go ahead and describe it. It's only a $250 ask. I'm looking to purchase 31 pumpkins and carving tools for our Pumpkin Fest at the Trinidad Rec Center, which will be on Halloween. This is an option for some of the family members that want to start the night early and probably not have to go too far into neighborhoods to go trick-or-treating. I will do a shameless plug that usually the folks over in Carver, off of, is that 19th Street, Commissioner G. Campbell, through that the block does with Commissioner McCollum. I haven't seen any advertisements this year, but if they do hold the event, it's a phenomenal block party over there for Halloween. But in Trinidad, I wanted to do another pumpkin fest. It was a very popular event last year. It was very beautiful to see parents with their children just carving pumpkins and just getting a memory out of, something as simple as, carving up a big old vegetable. So this is a permissible expense. It's only $250 ask. Again, it's for 31 pumpkins at a decent rate of between $5 to $6, and the rest the funds would just go to the carving tools itself. Is there any questions, or do you want to hold a discussion for the vote?
Can we do I know you estimated it at 250. Are you buying the pumpkins from Jenks?
No, but I wanted to go local, so I wasn't sure if they would have that many on hand.
Okay.
But I can definitely reach out to them first before I go to another larger distributor.
Okay.
We went through a grocery store last year and they gave them to us for free. But the only downside with those pumpkins is that they were all damaged, and that's why they were free. So I wanted to get, folks better pumpkins this year by actually asking for the purchase. But thank you for the recommendation. I'll definitely go through them first.
Yeah, if you could go through them first. And I guess my other question is this an already approved expense? Because this seems to be likely a direct expenditure, which you need the Form 105 through the OANC. I don't know if they need to sign off on it or not, but just a heads up there, we will need that in order to kind of move forward with the administrative portion of the QFR.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, given the administrative side to this expenditure and purchase, I move that we approve for this Halloween project at a budget not exceeding $250. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner G. Campbell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. Next item is our reopening of our social media position. Commissioner McCray, did you want to do this one, or you want me to do it?
You can do it. I didn't make any changes to the work statement, but there are some kind of inclusions that I would want to have going forward, after kind of learning kind of some of our needs.
Sure. So our next ANC meeting is November 18th. Lord, I'm already saying November. That's crazy. Our next ANC meeting is November 18th. I move that the ANC reopens the position of social media project manager with changes and amendments to the work statement that will be solidified at the COW meeting. This opening will be made to the public, and a direct hire will be made on November 18th. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Roblin. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. Keep on opening the wrong thing. Why do I have that? We have our proposal for funding for the ongoing projects that we have open from fiscal year 2025 into fiscal year 2026. Commissioner McCray?
Yes. So these are just two motions that I want to put on the floor to see if there's any discussion. I hadn't planned to go through line by line. It was more so just, hey, acknowledging that we need to vote on this. But what I want to do with, let me confirm both of them. So just for the administrative work, social media project work, the Trinidad mural project, and the historian project. Since we approved all of those in fiscal year 25, we now need to support funding for FY26 for these ongoing projects. So what I'm going to do is open the floor to questions just to see, and if there's no discussion, we can just vote.
Okay. Can you, how many items total was it?
So for this first one, this is just the ongoing project work for the
Right.
administrative assistant, social media work, historian project, as well as the Trinidad mural project.
Okay, so it's five items. Got it. Understood.
Four.
Oh, four.
It's four.
Did we
Yeah.
include the pet waste receptacles? Is that an open item or?
Kind of put them in two separate categories. I did kind of work, and then I did the secondary one as some of the items that we voted on that we need to purchase. So
Understood.
I have them as kind of two separate line items. We can jump them together. I don't think that should be an issue though.
Okay, I want to make sure the meetings are listed, just for the record, for any reason we don't have to go back to it. Commissioner Cholby?
Hi, yeah, just for my own understanding, these
Mhm.
are items that are separate from the budget we already just approved, or they would like fall in one of the categories in the budget we already approved.
They fall
Good
in the
question.
category of the budget we already approved. So
Okay.
this might have even been something that I don't even need to do anymore.
Oh,
But the sticky part was like we have the budget, but I just wanted to make it clear that some of the items that we're voting on, we previously approved last year, and this is just a carryover of those same things because we aren't rehiring folks.
right. So
If that
it's just extending authorization for whatever it is in its respective category that we have
Yeah.
the money. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Are there any other questions?
And if y'all are okay, we can jump them all in together. Beyond just those four ongoing like work areas, we have just the kind of similar things like internet, Wix, all of those items that we previously approved, like the pet waste receptacles. Things along those lines that we approved last year that we probably won't reapprove. Just letting it go through September 30th until we need new work statements, if that makes sense. So almost like an extension of the project scope.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a better way to frame it, and we can probably lump it in together. But just extending the project scope on items that we have voted on but have not purchased, as well as just ongoing work projects that we have going on, just extending those deadlines through the end of fiscal year 26.
Okay. Okay, that works. You can put that in a motion.
All right, so I move to extend the project scope and work statements, as well as kind of the items that we voted on previously in FY25 for fiscal year 25 to extend those work kind of completion dates, those purchase dates through the end of September 30th, 2026. So the end of fiscal year 26.
I second this motion. Or is there any need for discussion? If not, we'll go straight to a vote. Okay, 5D01.
Aye.
5D02.
Aye.
5D03.
Aye.
5D05. Aye. 5D06.
Aye.
And 5D09.
Aye.
Perfect. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. And then we have a final item on authorization.
Yes. Hold tight. I lumped them both together, so it's just one item, if that makes sense. So those two will just be one vote.
Okay. So was that the final item then?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen and family, it is 10:22. We made it to the end of this meeting. Here, for any stragglers on the meeting, this is your opportunity to ask any direct questions of anything going on in your neighborhood, on your block. You'll be permitted to be unmuted since you are some of the poor souls that waited for us to end and are still with us. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the raise your hand function to directly ask. If not, we'll go ahead and proceed with adjourning tonight's meeting. At the same time, was there any other asks from other commissioners or any other items that would like to be discussed or shared? Not hearing anything. Okay. Commissioners, it is 10:23 p.m. I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting and conclude everything as discussed with the public. Can I get a second on this motion?
Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCray. All in favor? Yeah, y'all were quick for that one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Y'all have a great rest of your night, and we'll see each other in person November 18th. 371 more.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Night,
Thank you to our
everybody.
interpreters.